was socially appropriate in the 70s and 80s is different than what's socially appropriate and politically correct in the aughts and in the teens. It's a different millennium now.
You got to factor that in.
And you got to factor it in. It's not that I want them to be graded on a curve. I just want people to be realistic about where we live and what time it is.
Geraldo Rivera, it's always a thrill to have you in. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
It's Kilmeade and Friends on Fox News Talk.
Trending on FM News Talk 97.1.
The disturbing stories just keep coming.
The claims are preposterous.
We stand by her.
This is really bad.
It's absurd. They don't bother to investigate.
Nobody can dispute the fact
that you're a rapist.
Stay connected.
Bill Clinton is a rapist. They want to distract us from WikiLeaks.
Election 2016.
he's having a bad week.
This is
Crazy
FM News Talk.
You had to bring that up because that's all they got.
97.1.
97.1 News Time, 11:30. Good morning, I'm Jason Church. Currently, the Dow is up 55 points and the NASDAQ is up 6 points. Road managers in Missouri say that they need at least $500 million more for local road and bridge projects. The Missouri Department of Transportation is on pace to spend just over $2 billion on roads this year. MoDOT Director Patrick McKenna says the agency is hoping for more money. He brushes off claims that the state is not spending the money that it already has efficiently. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner is speaking out against Donald Trump. The Republican governor says he is, quote, appalled and, quote, disgusted by the recent sexual harassment allegations that have been made against his party's presidential nominee. Rauner has not said whether he intends to vote for Trump in the November 8th election. The Blues are off to a 2-0 start to the season. Alexander Steen, Nail Yupkov, and Magnus Pajarvi lit the lamp as they beat the Wild 3-2 in the home opener at Scott Trade Center. This news update brought to you by Renters Warehouse, the professional landlords of Rent Estate, renterswarehouse.com.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. You've heard me talk about how I specialize in eliminating PMI and offer no closing cost loans while still getting my customers mortgage rates in the 3s. Lately, I've been getting a lot of calls from past clients who refinanced with me, asking if I do purchase loans too. Yes, I do purchase loans. If you are thinking of buying, I want you to know I can help you buy a home with no closing costs and no added PMI expenses. I will also show you exactly how much you qualify to borrow and put a pre-approval letter in your hand. So when you find the home you want, your offer will be taken seriously. Since I offer some of the lowest mortgage rates in town and don't have those expensive add-ons, I'll get you a better house for the same money. If this appeals to you, call me, Michael Mohan, at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. That's 314-336-6050. 314-336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, NMLS 250353, APRs in the 3s.
Hi, this is Frank Cusimano. And a quick word about the guy who I think is the best dentist in St. Louis, Dr. White. Many people are afraid to go to the dentist. The American Dental Society estimates that 50% of the adult population do not go because of a bad experience they had. They offer anxiety-free sedation with prescription medicine. No needles in your arm, no tubes down your throat. You will experience no anxiety. By just taking a small pill, you can get the dental work you need. But more importantly, Dr. White will not lecture you or make you feel bad for not going to the dentist. Dr. White just wants to help you take care of your dental problems, and you can feel better about yourself. Call 314-270-8552. Come by Dr. White's office for a consultation and exam for just $1. That includes all necessary x-rays. Call today, 270-8552. And wake up with a new smile. Dr. White, I think he's the best in town.
If there was a sudden, devastating emergency in your area, how long could your family hold out until help arrived? A day? A week? A month? In these troubling times of overstretched state and federal resources, political uncertainty, and the threat of economic and environmental catastrophe, you need to be prepared, because the only person your family can depend on is you. We're liveprepared.com. For over 40 years, we've been the leader in emergency preparedness. We believe that in a time of crisis, your family deserves the very best food, which is why we provide more servings and more calories than any other company out there. Our emergency food vault contains 30 days of high-quality, easy-to-prepare, nutritious meals. So get the best. Prepare for the worst.
Go to liveprepared.com and order your 30-day emergency food vault.
packed with over 2,000 calories per day of long-term delicious food. And for a limited time only, we'll also include a free emergency backpack with your purchase. Go to liveprepared.com now and enter promo code 3434 for your free backpack. That's liveprepared.com, promo code 3434.
This is Stacey Washington, host of Stacey on the Right. I'm excited to announce that my show is moving to Sunday nights. I'm still bringing you the Second Amendment update, teachable moment, and everything else you've come to love on the Stacey on the Right show. Now on Sunday nights from 7 to 9 on FM News Talk 97.1.
Kilmeade and Friends brought to you by the Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Thinking of selling your home? They have the buyers right now. Call now, 314-810-SOLD or online at 810sold.com. Hey, St. Louis, it's Kilmeade and Friends on FM News Talk 97.1.
These claims are all fabricated. They're pure fiction and they're outright lies. These events never, ever happened, and the people that said them meekly fully understand. You take a look at these people, you study these people, and you'll understand also. The claims are preposterous, ludicrous, and defy truth, common sense, and logic.
That is Donald Trump. You might recognize his voice. He was coming back at the 5 women that have stepped forward. And there's been a lot of them that said that he's been too forward at various ways, but it's been years ago. No one said this happened yesterday, last year, even, I believe, within the last 5 years, maybe even within the last 10 years. That also brings up something else. This happened, if it did indeed happen, is there a time in which you just say, hey, that was in the past. You haven't stepped forward. We don't know if we believe you. I mean, there's a lot of people who say, well, there's a double standard now. You want us to believe Bill Clinton's people, women from the 90s. Why not believe these women who came out in the 90s and maybe some as early as 11 years ago? That was Donald Trump yesterday. Ainsley Earhart's here. Ainsley, you heard all this morning.
Unbelievable. Listen, I'm just in my office after our show, and I'm coming down here to do radio. Watching CNN and watching their coverage of this, Brian, I am horrified. So the anchor is asking the 2 guests she had on. She had one on who was supporting Trump and one on that was a Hillary supporter. And the lady was trying to say, the Trump lady saying, these allegations, these are just allegations. How do we know that these aren't just people that are being paid or just want to support Hillary, and they're coming out and making up all this stuff? And the anchor was saying, would you, if this happened, if he groped a woman, they went out in one of the rallies and they were asking people if he groped a woman, if this is true, would you care? And some of the supporters said no. And she said, you're not answering the question. If he groped someone, would you care? And she's like, you're not listening to me. He didn't grope these people. He's saying he didn't. These are people that are coming out and accusing him of something that they don't have any proof of. It's unbelievable, Brian. I mean, you have Bill Clinton on the other side who has all these women who have come forward. Sean Hannity was interviewing them last night saying what he has done. He paid $850,000 to one lady who accused him of doing things that were inappropriate. And he paid the money. I mean, so there's your proof that Bill Clinton did it. And then one of the ladies last night said she was terrified of Hillary, that Hillary walked up to her one day and said some things to her like, I can't believe you're doing this to my husband. She said, I was terrified of Hillary Clinton.
Well, I mean, that's true. I also have such little interest in Bill Clinton's bimbo eruptions.
I know, but the point is, if you watch what Hannity did last night, because I felt the same way you did, and then I watched the show, and I was like, wow, if they're going to bring up things that from Trump's past that may or may not be true, then we got to bring up things from Hillary and Bill's past. That's only fair.
John, so the thing is that Donald Trump decides to take it on and spend the majority of his speech saying that he's innocent of these women, when I think he should be slamming Obamacare, talking about with the refugees, doing his build a wall, and then at the end, listen, we've all seen this information, and let me just give you this information when you go outside and when you start walking in the stores and people ask you why you're supporting me. Here's why. Because all this stuff isn't true. Here's John Heilman on the type of speech that he heard from Donald Trump, cut 7.
The speech that Donald Trump gave today in the afternoon, the one in Florida, was one of the more extraordinary things that I've heard him give. And he's given some...
It was apocalyptic.
It was apocalyptic. It was Manichaean. It was It was a speech that it reminded me of the similarities between Trump and Pat Buchanan back in the early 1990s, when Pat Buchanan was basically saying a lot of the same things Trump did. And he appealed in a lot of cases to what I like to call at the time the clenched fist and camouflage crowd, the ones who were worried about the black helicopters and the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderbergers and the notion that there was a world government. Rudy Giuliani, say, before that speech, said he thought Hillary Clinton was trying to build a world government. It was conspiratorial, not just apocalyptic, but the notion of a grand globalist conspiracy that was out to get Donald Trump. And that was what all of this that happened yesterday. These women who came forward with their accounts, consistent accounts among the accounts themselves, and with things that he's bragged about, somehow that was all part of a grand global conspiracy to deprive Donald Trump of the presidency. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, to link it together was a bit of a risk, but to say that she didn't say that she wants a global trade environment, that she wants open borders, that's to not read the WikiLeaks emails. He actually wrote that because it was in a speech.
Well, she said, I say things in public and say things in private that are different, because she said that's what Abe Lincoln did. But it's amazing. It's amazing the things that she'll say in public and the things that she says in private that are totally different. For instance, the refugee thing. Remember that in the WikiLeaks from the beginning of the week, Brian, where she said in these emails, I read these emails, saying that all these Syrian refugees were moving into Jordan, and she said there is no way you can vet all those people. And that was in 2013. Now in 2016, she is campaigning and saying she wants 65,000 refugees to come into this country unvetted, even though she says that they're not going to be terrorists.
Yeah, so we also know, too, that Germany regrets taking all those the refugees in, and that they've just arrested a 22-year-old terrorist who ended up killing himself in prison. They mixed in with the refugees, and we know that President Hollande of France said, I got a huge Muslim problem on my hand. In a few years, France's symbol will be a woman in a burqa. Can you imagine if Donald Trump said that? But you have a socialist, liberal socialist from France, the sophisticated nation, who is saying exactly what Trump's saying, only to the 10th power after seeing a series of terrorist attacks. We have almost become numb to it, and Donald Trump hasn't done a good job saying, got to read you what's going on in Europe. Today, there was another attack. Guess where that person was from? Syria. Do you want them here? To ask
all
the
it
people
takes
of New
is
York.
one. All
ask
it takes
the
is
11
one.
people that hurt New York.
President Obama brought in 10,000. She wants to bring in 65,000. Brian, all it takes is one, or maybe five.
Right.
To conduct to do another 9/11. I mean, do you know how scary that is?
Right.
How do you vet 65,000 people? You can't.
You can't, even when you do have their fingerprints registered.
She knows that. She said it in 2013. You can't do it. And now she's on the campaign trail saying that you can.
So that's a little bit why I don't believe that Donald Trump should be leading with the bimbo eruption.
I agree. He's talking about it too much. We should get back to the issues.
Right. I think you close with it. You mentioned it. Ron, listening on News 96.5 in Orlando. Hey, Ron.
Good morning, Brian. How are you, sir?
Great.
Brian, you're a historian as a retired policeman, but I was a historian when I was a school teacher. I want to bring the public who listens, those who may not know or maybe never researched or never cared to know. There was a presidential election in 1948 in which Harry Truman ran against Thomas Dewey. And for weeks, and including Election Day in 1948, every newspaper printed how Truman was going to be voted out of office. In fact,
I know, and then Truman came back to win. But how does that apply here?
How it applies here is this. People are impressed and intimidated by the polls. They're listening to polls, excuse me. Polls are as inaccurate as can possibly be, like an arrow being fired by a blind man or woman. Forget the polls and forget being intimidated. The thing, again, and I concur with you wholeheartedly, is that somehow maybe Geraldo Rivera, who knows Mr. Trump so well, can get through to this man and make him understand, rise above this crap, because this is a distraction. Tell the people, myself included, what we're going to do, and we believe in you, that you're going to knock the hell out of ISIS and you're going to stop the illegal immigration into this country. These are the issues that are concerning us. I don't care. Most Americans, we don't care, Brian, what he said or did 15 years ago when you have a president of the United States as attorney general and governor of another state had sexual misconduct to the point of borderline rape, and yet the American public looks the other way. Well, again, was it appropriate? No, it's not. But let's move on. That's not going to make this country great and strong again. What is his actions. And I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I support your idea. Get above this, Mr. Trump, because they're doing this deliberately as a distraction of all the things that Hillary has done. Brian, thank you for that time, and
All right.
good luck to you, sir.
Go get him, Ron. Listen on News 96.5 in Orlando. We're doing quite well there.
We love Orlando.
No, it's very
God,
good.
the people there, they call in your show all the time.
Well,
Every time I'm here, we take callers from Orlando. They're so supportive.
I don't want to make the people of St. Louis, Jacksonville,
we
and
love,
all around the country.
I'm like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I love Orlando. I love St. Louis. I love Jacksonville.
Oh, wait a second. Let me see if I can get one for you.
Okay.
Nothing beats the Bible. Nothing beats the Bible. Not even the art of the deal.
Wait,
I love the poorly educated.
Nothing funny.
Are there more?
What? You want to hear more?
You need all of them.
I love the Mormons.
the Mormons.
Right.
Not I love Mormons. The Mormons.
How about this?
He's so funny.
Oh, look at my African American over here. Look at him.
Yeah, that was. Maybe that one doesn't make him look that.
That's not a good one.
Right.
No.
How about this?
I love the evangelicals. I love the Hispanics.
Why does he put a "the" in front of everything?
I love women.
Love women.
Oh, not the women.
No, he just loves women. Why narrow it?
He knew how to do that one.
So you remember I've been saying all week, because you're so interested in how I feel, you care about my feelings?
I do. I put you on the sofa every week because I want. Oh, I do actually. You're on the curvy couch every week.
Yes.
You know how a therapist, that's the joke, put me on the sofa? That sounded really bad. I didn't mean it like that. I meant you're on the curvy couch and you're sitting here telling me, I need to hear your feelings.
Right.
How do you feel, Brian?
So what I've been saying, I'm a little conflicted because I'm interested in what WikiLeaks hacked, but at the same time, I don't like a outside organization hacking into confidential material.
I know. If anyone watches our show, they know that you are totally against hacking.
So the former... firmly against it. It's like being against robbery. General Michael Hayden.
Or what do I hate? Stealing.
Yeah, you came out strongly against stealing. You go, I hate stealing. The NSA DIA had General Michael Hayden, the CIA, I should say, and NSA. Here's what he said.
Something A.
Yeah, something important. Here's what he said he would do if he had access, like the Russians seem to have access to our elections. Cut 30.
I think the actual theft is being done by Russian criminal gangs on behalf of the Russian state, at the direction of the Russian state. It's a little bit of a cutout plausible deniability. And I do think the Russians are pushing these in the direction of WikiLeaks and letting them push them into the public domain. And Nora, I got to say, the theft of the documents, honorable international espionage. A lot of intelligence services do that around the world, all right? If I were, as director of NSA, able to get the internals of the thinking of a major political party in a major global adversary, I'd do it.
He would do it. So we evidently have the best, most sophisticated way of hacking into other people's stuff. Yeah. Why don't we do it? I mean, how much more? North Korea does it. China's doing it. Russia's doing it. You got my permission, Barack Obama. Go do it.
All right. How do you feel about that? Because you'd love to talk about your feelings.
No, now, because I'm very in touch with them.
Yes.
So I'm saying it's time to hit back.
Okay.
I'm saying that then you've been hacking us for years. I'm sure we're doing some things, but it's time to maybe take their grid down for 9 minutes and then put it back up and say it could get worse from here. Because now we see the Russians and Chinese collaborating. And by the way, Barack Obama's done a terrible job with the Russians, even though they're belligerent people who are trying to punch above their weight.
What do you wish he would do differently?
Well, that's funny you bring that up. But he has screwed it up so badly and said, don't worry about Russia. They're a regional power with a contracting economy. He made that statement. We couldn't be hacking you. We're just a regional power. How do we do something like that? And meanwhile, they've been infecting the entire region.
It's insane. It's crazy. You know what? What do you think about, you don't like the hacking thing, but what if it's for national security though, Brian? Like what if we need to get into the emails of people here that we're suspecting are terrorists?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm all
You're
for
okay with
that. Yeah, I was. That's why I want Edward Snowden arrested, because we're not hacking into people who are just, it's not Ainsley Earhardt.
Right.
We got to find out
Right.
what she's doing in New York City, hypothetically, if you live there.
Right.
But when we come back, we'll take more of your calls. Maybe it'll be a nice call from Orlando. For Ainsley, and then find out what she really thinks about this weekend, as well as find out what the WikiLeaks revelations of the day are. We're already getting some. We're getting some disseminations right here. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Missed part of the show? Don't panic. Get the podcasts online at KilmeadeandFriends.com.
It all comes down to this. The final contest.
A lot of people are worried that maybe they wouldn't have a place in Donald Trump's America.
The final chance to win your vote.
We have a divided nation because people like her, and believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart.
And one of the most trusted, experienced names in news moderates the candidates before America decides. Watch the final presidential debate with moderator Chris Wallace, October 19th on Fox News Channel, America's election headquarters.
We've all taken side jobs here and there to earn extra cash, but now making extra money is way easier thanks to Uber. Uber's the ultimate side hustle. Driving with Uber means you can earn extra cash whenever you want. It's not just another job. It's a totally flexible way to earn. You can turn it on, off, just like your car. Now, if you have a few spare hours here and there, drive with Uber. Have you ever wanted to be your own boss? I bet you'd be a great boss. Drive with Uber and you are your own boss. If you're driving right now, you should be earning right now. Every day is payday when you drive with Uber because you can cash out anytime with Instant Pay. With access to Instant Pay, cash out your earnings up to 5 times a day with no minimum amount required. Listen, if you enjoy earning extra cash, if there's something special you'd like to buy, your car can start making you money. So go ahead, get your side hustle on. Sign up to drive with Uber today. Go to uber.com/drive now. That's uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now. Did you do anything today that could have put you at risk for identity theft? Use a credit card? Use your cell phone with the locator on? These are everyday activities that identity thieves count on to steal your personal information. That's why I decided to help protect myself with Identity Guard, the company that helped protect more than 47 million people. Plus, if you were to need it, Identity Guard's victim recovery specialists will help you through the recovery process. Identity Guard even offers identity theft insurance. So get the identity theft protection service that's right for you. Visit identityguard.com/podcast.
Do you stream FM NewsTalk 97.1 on your phone? Check out Next Radio. It's an FM tuner built into your phone, so you can stop using up data and save your battery. More details at 971talk.com/nextradio.
Crooked career politician Chris Koster is one smooth talker, but his record? Koster is a hardcore abortion advocate, a 100% rating from the most extreme pro-partial birth abortion organization in the world. Koster admits expanding Obamacare by billions in Missouri is his top priority. Koster is a liberal career politician who's made millions off government and given thousands to Hillary Clinton. Even the New York Times calls Koster one of the most corrupt attorneys general in America. When you hear career politician Chris Koster, remember, he's corrupt, he's liberal, and the only job he'll ever fight for is his own.
Eric Greitens is anything but a career politician, the commander of a terrorist targeting cell, an entrepreneur who will create jobs. Eric Greitens, pro-life, pro-family, the guts to take on special interests and turn our state around.
Paid for by Greitens for Missouri, Jeff Stearman Treasurer.
I was finally ready for my new kitchen. I wanted a design expert who would work with me one-on-one and walk me through the entire project every step of the way. Where could I find that without spending over my budget and still get quality and style? I found my new kitchen at Have a Nice Kitchen in Fenton. One-on-one, person-to-person. That's how they do things. Personal consulting and a great selection of quality cabinets and countertops. Have a Nice Kitchen in Old Town Fenton.
This hour of Kill Me brought to you by Cerdite Motorsports, Hunter's Choice 2016. Get a free gun with a new vehicle purchase at Cerdite Motorsports. Details in store.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Right after Kill Me, it's the Mark Cox Show, noon to 3 on FM News Talk 97.1.
What did Trump do to the Dalai Lama in a previous life? Wow. And I thought Trump, would have an affinity with Buddhists. I thought Buddhists would really love Trump because if he gets the nuclear codes, we may all achieve nothingness.
I get it. So there is, of course, Stephen Colbert last night. Ainsley Earhart's here finishing up this half hour, and for the week, she's extremely happy because as much as you love your job, you do not enjoy getting up at 3 in the morning.
No, I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I did not say that.
You tell me how you feel.
Okay. I love my job, and I love getting up at 3 in the morning every day because my feet hit the ground, and I say, thank you, God, that I have this job.
Right.
So I am grateful to get up. But I do like sleeping in on Saturdays. I really do. I like the fact that I don't have a 3 a.m. alarm clock. Call me crazy. Because, Brian, you love that. Do you still get up at 3 a.m.?
No, I get probably at 6:30. 7.
Yeah, me too. I do
but
that.
I got these dogs
yeah.
that have this thing that if they're up past 7, we start thinking to ourselves, we pushing our luck. We got to get them out because they're still technically puppies, even though they're the size of
right. They have a bladder
of horses. Yeah.
Yeah, that would not look good on the rug.
Right.
In the
I got to
living
show
room.
you a picture of what they did yesterday.
Oh no,
We
I don't want to see that. Is it?
We had somebody help us. I wanted to come to the house to tell us basically how to gradually give more and more room. And one thing they
how
said,
to give them what?
More and more room, because you got to restrict them in the beginning, and then you give more and more room.
Oh, really?
To get gradually get the whole house.
Okay.
So one thing he says to us before we leave is, when you leave the house, don't leave these dog toys out, because what if they choke?
Oh,
so we
my
go,
word.
Really?
It's like a toddler. It's like having a baby.
Yeah. So we put them away. And guess what happened?
What?
They started chewing at the molding.
I was going to say.
On the sliding glass door.
Yep.
And they have no idea. By the way,
okay, so here's.
No regrets either. You walk in the room, they're happy to see you. I'm like, don't even acknowledge that there's.
Are you going to leave the toys next time?
Yes.
So you'd rather have the molding and your choking dogs?
Yeah. By the way, good point. I just remember 2 years ago, we had to redo the whole first floor, had to do all that wood again, had to get a brand new sliding glass door.
For 2 years ago, which dogs?
3 years ago, Sandy,
okay.
because of the flood.
Right. Yeah.
So this wasn't a very good day.
No. Oh, gosh. Was Dawn really mad?
Right. And
were you mad or Dawn mad?
No, she takes it a lot worse than I do.
Yeah. Did she cry?
Well, she was, no, she goes to anger. She's not really a weeper.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, so does she take it out on the dogs or you?
No, but the dogs have no regrets. They wag their tail. They have no idea.
You can't take it out on the dogs.
It's like it seemed like a great toy.
They're like, you took the toys away. This is what you get.
This is what you get.
Right.
I have anything else.
Dawn has no one to blame but herself.
Thank you. And I don't take any blame.
No, you're never at fault.
Hey, Todd, listening on Sirius 450 in New Hampshire. Hey, Todd.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Brian, and glad to be on with Ainsley.
Hey, Todd.
Just calling about, how you doing? Just calling about the polling. I'm up in New Hampshire, and I listen a lot to Pat Goodell the last half hour of Breitbart before you come on, and he was saying things like, the more he sees Hillary Clinton not moving at all in the polls and Trump going up and down. And I'm starting to equate what's going on with the media, which who knows what's going to happen after November 9th. But I'm kind of feeling a little bit about the polling, too, that it's getting antiquated using old models and things like that. When you listen to what Pat says about, using 2012 models and more Dems and less
I've heard that, Todd, and a lot. This is the theme, Ainsley, but I've had merely over the last week. Don't believe the polls.
Well, it's everyone knows there's a statistic for everything. 37% of America knows that. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's a joke, Brian. That's supposed to be funny. You're not listening to me.
Sorry.
Brian is on Breitbart right now that you mentioned that.
Because you mentioned Breitbart, I wanted to see what they would go.
Okay, the point is, the polls are, in my opinion, I think the polls are always fun to talk about and fun to look. And I really like Real Clear Politics because it's an average of all the polls. But I agree with you. I mean, you can't put much weight on the polls. It's just, I think it's just something we all want to know. We're a
numbers business.
We're in the business, and we need to know now. We can't wait a month.
He's within 7 now.
Right.
He's got 5 days to close it within 3, and then it puts it in his hands again. Have a great debate. Stop the eruptions of controversy, and you'll have a shot. Ainsley, have a great weekend. It's sponsored by somebody. All right, you've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for over a year. Yeah, since 2015, it's that delicious circulation superfood. It's a powder loaded with vegetable dietary nitrates. When I get up in the middle of the night and I get ready for the morning show and then get ready for this show, I need something to give me a boost. But not only that, to get me to focus. Coffee gives me the jitters. Energy drinks is just too sugary. Super Beets is my one-stop shopping. And you feel the difference within 20 minutes. And if you don't, it's guaranteed you don't pay. The team behind Super Beets got a good reputation. They're willing to stand behind it. So because you're one of our listeners, you're going to get a 3rd-day supply for free with your first order. You'll get an incredibly informative book called Beat the Odds, and you'll still get that free nitric oxide indicator, which show you through strips how it's working inside your body. And if you want to get some supplements, good. For a limited time, mention the code TALK50, TALK50 for 50% off things like vitamin D, vitamin C, and Meta-C. So call 1-800-541-2516 or log on to briansbeats.com. Mention the code TALK50, 1-800-541-2516 or briansbeats.com.
Are you hearing those nasty floor squeaks again? Not just floor squeaks, but pops, creaks, and other noises you can't explain? I'm Scott Diebold.
And I'm Jeff Rock.
And we're Squeak Stoppers. We've been stopping floor squeaks and other noises in the metro area for the past 7 years, and our work is guaranteed for life.
Not creak stoppers.
Squeak Stoppers.
Not leak stoppers.
Remember, for all those unwanted noises in your home, contact us today at 314-341-9676 or squeakstoppers.com.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM, East St. Louis. K254CR, St. Louis. Powered by E3Wealth.com. FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. With some Republicans walking away from Donald Trump over sexual misconduct allegations, President Obama asking what took so long.
You said you're the party of family values. What, you weren't appalled earlier when he was saying degrading things about women?
The president trying to fire up voters for Hillary Clinton at a Cleveland rally, saying the choice shouldn't be complicated.
All the progress we made the last 8 years is on the ballot. Democracy itself is on the ballot right now. So if you want to send a message, make it loud.
Clinton's in Seattle for a fundraiser. Trump rallies next hour in North Carolina as his campaign continues to fight the sexual misconduct allegations, insisting they're false and part of a smear campaign.
The Trump team does plan to continue really hitting the media that they think is coordinating with the Clinton campaign. They're calling it now the Clinton machine.
Fox's Peter Doocy. Trump says the media should be paying more attention to what's in the hacked emails from Clinton's top advisors. House Speaker Paul Ryan about to give a speech focusing on a bigger picture and hoping to keep a Republican majority in Congress. Fox Radio's Jared Halpern following this live from Washington.
The House Speaker will tell college Republicans in Wisconsin that beneath the ugliness of this election lies a debate between two governing philosophies, saying when Hillary Clinton says her Stronger Together slogan, what she means is if we're stronger as subjects of the state. Ryan has faced backlash, however, from fellow Republicans after telling colleagues earlier this week after viewing the 11-year-old Access Hollywood video that he won't defend or campaign with Donald Trump anymore. So far, the speaker has not publicly weighed in on new accusations from women who say Trump inappropriately touched them years ago. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. The Florida Supreme Court just ruling that a unanimous jury is needed for the death penalty. That throws a new sentencing law into limbo. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
When I listen to Audible, I'm not drinking box wine on the couch with my schnoodle. I'm undercover at a Parisian gala, hot on the trail of Europe's most infamous jewel thief. There, in the corner, the man with the mustache has red clay on his shoes. The exact same clay from the tennis court where the Sultan's jewels went missing. I break into a sprint and tackle him to the ground. Where are the jewels, you fiend? No, not you, Pepper. You're a good boy.
Go to audible.com/actnow and your first download is free. Audible. Stories that surround you.
America is taking the lead in energy.
Leading the world in oil and natural gas production.
I vote to keep it going. With the right policies,
we can produce, refine, and supply
more oil and natural gas.
And more abundant energy means more affordable energy for American families.
A more secure America.
Jobs, opportunity, and economic growth for our children
and grandchildren.
That's why this election, I'm voting
for American energy.
Learn more at voteforenergy.org.
Join us and become an energy voter.
Brought to you by American Petroleum Institute.
97.1 News Time, 12:03. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Church. The St. Louis community is mourning the loss of Officer Blake Snyder. Officer Snyder was shot and killed in the line of duty last week in South County. He was laid to rest yesterday. His funeral took place at St. Louis Family Church in Chesterfield. Officer Snyder was then buried at Valhalla Memorial Park Cemetery in Godfrey, Illinois. A fundraiser is underway today for the fallen St. Louis County police officer. Blake Snyder laid to rest yesterday. Backstoppers is hosting a Boots on the Ground event in the Hill neighborhood today. Don Brown Chevrolet will match any donation up to $10,000. Volunteers will be going door to door today collecting donations. Governor Bruce Rauner in Illinois and his wife Diana are planning to live on the Illinois State Fairgrounds next year. The State Journal-Register reports the Illinois Executive Mansion will close in January for a restoration project that's expected to last over a year. This news update brought to you by Renters Warehouse, the professional landlords of Rent Estate, renterswarehouse.com.
With yoga gaining popularity, so is the use of aromatherapy. OrganicInfusions.com sources its oils farm direct and passes the savings on to you. Go to OrganicInfusions.com today and experience it for yourself. OrganicInfusions.com.
If you've been looking for new windows for your home, it can be very frustrating. Almost like going to the dentist. Like dealing with a high-pressure window salesman. Trying to sell overly priced cheap windows. Not knowing if you're getting your money's worth. At Wilkie Window and Door, you'll get the best bang for your buck with new Anderson 400 Series Wood-Rite windows. At Wilkie Window and Door, there's no second-guessing your buying decision. You know you're getting the best replacement window available. So don't hurt yourself by going cheap. Get Wilkie's bottom-line pricing on best in-class, made-in-America Anderson windows. Shop the discounters if you want, but Wilkie specializes in the good stuff, Anderson. Since 1961, Wilkie has brought quality to your home. Visit our showrooms in Fenton and Shiloh and take the pain out of buying windows. For more information, visit us online at wilkiewindow.com. That's wilkiewindow.com.
Hi, I'm Brian Kilmeade here for Smile Advantage, a membership-based dental plan that's smart and affordable. Pay one low annual fee for all necessary checkups and cleanings, and unlike high-cost dental insurance, you only pay for the care you receive. Get discounts on fillings, crowns, and root canals. No waiting period, no yearly maximums, no kidding. This is the solution patients have been asking for. Most dental plans are renewing this time of year, so this is the perfect time to enroll. Visit SmileAdvantageSTL.com.
October is here. That means it's time for the annual Great River Road Chestnut Roast at Forest Keeling Nursery in Ellsbury. Bring the whole family out Saturday, October 15th. Of course, they'll have their famous roasted chestnuts along with other delicious fall foods. The event will feature local vendors and live entertainment, including bluegrass and folk music featuring Sarah Hook, plus special educational presentations such as monarch life cycle and migration, beekeeping, plus crafts and activities for the kids, beer tasting for the adults, different demonstrations throughout the day, and as always, they'll have great deals on seasonal trees and plants. Learn more about Forest Keeling's fast-growing RPM-produced trees, shrubs, and plants, including selections of their popular Chinese chestnut, which is fast becoming the most valuable nut tree. This is their biggest event of the year, so don't miss it Saturday, October 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Forest Keeling Nursery, just off Highway 79 in Ellsbury. See you at this year's Great River Road Chestnut Roast.
Lawns love fall. They love backyard touch football and kids diving into leaf piles. But what lawns really love is fall's cool air and warm soil. That's why now is the time to use Scott's Turf Builder grass seed to help prepare and thicken your lawn from the long summer. Scott's Turf Builder grass seed grows grass quicker, thicker, and greener, guaranteed. So pick up a bag today. Fall time is yard time with Scott's.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Naputi Wellness. Catch Dr. Eric every Sunday at 3 on Wellness Matters. NaputiWellnessCenter.com.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
Let's get it on. Is the Mark Cox Show.
No party is going to be able to govern, frankly, for the next 2 years. If Hillary takes the White House, and let's say she takes the Senate and the House, she's going to have by the slimmest of margins. Right. And unless she's prepared to buck the entire Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders wing of the party, she'll never get anything done.
Welcome into the Mark Cox Show. My name is Annie Fry, and it is so good to be with you. If you listen on the weekend from 5 to 7, you hear the Annie Fry Show. I got my start on Sunday nights with Mark Cox, and now I find myself here on a midday show getting to fill in for Mark as he spent some time with his kids. So, Liz, Jason, it is great to be with you. Thanks for letting me in the studio. You haven't kicked me out yet. I appreciate that. Never.
I got to say, it's really awesome to have you here during the week because I have always been a fan of listening to the show on the weekend and stuff, but it's so cool to be able to sit here and watch this thing happen live.
Yeah, like a train wreck when you can't turn away.
No.
Not like that. No, I'm really excited to be here, and this whole station, I've been working at the station for 8 years almost, and the whole station is just something I'm passionate about. It's really great to be able to work at something that you love. I work behind the scenes on the website. You might have heard me refer to as the web mistress.
Web mistress.
Sounds a lot more scandalous than I really am, I promise you. But yeah, it's great to be here, and I'm grateful to Mark. But let's get straight to it here. Hillary Clinton running for president. I'm a woman, so she gets my vote, right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Wrong. Yeah, exactly. How do we find ourselves in a place where a presidential candidate thinks that she deserves somebody's vote just based on their gender? And the thing about Hillary and this WikiLeaks stuff that just is just gorging out onto the internet faster than really the press can even consume it, we're finding out a lot of things that we already knew about Hillary Clinton. It's interesting to see the inner workings. It's kind of disgusting, too, I might add, to see the inner workings of a campaign and a mind of somebody who is fully self-absorbed, whose number one goal is constantly to self-promote and to get hers. Hillary Clinton running to be your president to represent you, and she wants to have nothing to do with you. So in the WikiLeaks release that came out on the 12th, so that's 2 days ago, that's part of the John Podesta emails, her campaign chairman. They go over how her intention after she announced that she was going to run for president, her intention was to stay away from the press for the whole summer. She wanted to get through fall. On May 21st of 2015, Huma Abedin wrote in an email with the subject line HRC feedback, and I'm quoting this. She wants to rethink events during the post-launch with money and press being her two big issues. So right there, we know from the very beginning, from the launch of her campaign, she has two concerns. One, how she's going to raise enough money. And secondly, how she's going to be handled or managed by the press, rather how she's going to manage the press herself. She goes on to say, this is Huma relaying Hillary's concerns to John Podesta. We're looking to add more fundraisers in the last 2 weeks in June to get her to a higher number for this quarter. And then he goes on to say that they've mapped that out and that it's going to be a little bit crazy. But then she says, can we survive not answering questions from press at message events? Her Dinkins speech and immigration message broke through because we didn't take questions. Her community banks message got lost because she answered questions about the foundation in emails. So Hillary Clinton's solution, when she first comes on the scene as a presidential candidate, is to stay as far away from the press as she possibly can. Because she doesn't want to have to answer these questions that are still coming out right now about her email situation. So we're going to have on an attorney that's actually on the case from Judicial Watch, because Judicial Watch sent 25 questions to the Hillary camp, and they wanted answers about her email scandal. And it's very legal and it's very deep, but he's going to relay all of that to us later in the 1 o'clock hour. And I'm really looking forward to having that conversation because he's right there on the ground, and he's going to be able to explain all this to us. And with Hillary, we have a press that is not willing to truly press on Hillary Clinton. If you look at, I get a lot of my news from Facebook, and some people will say, how can you get your news from Facebook? Well, I follow CNN, and I follow Fox News, and I follow all of the individual little blogs, the aggregated news networks where you have a lot of people writing for one particular place. I like to see differing opinions. I like to see what people are saying, especially people who don't think exactly like me, because I want to see where the thought process starts and ends, because that makes me solidify my resolve on my issues even stronger. But when you see it, when I'm looking on my Facebook profile and I see a CNN news story, CNN's official Facebook page, the articles that they share, they are all slanted against Trump, or they're all there to prop Hillary up. So it's not like you're sitting down. USA Today is the same. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to unfollow them because I don't feel like I'm being served news. I subscribe to them so that I can consume as much information as I possibly can. You write a good headline, I read your story, but the headlines are all so slanted. So you have a slanted media in favor of the Democratic nominee for president, and then you have a candidate who says she wants to get through months and months and months of not answering questions from the press, the people who might dare ask her a question about something she's uncomfortable about. And here we sit waiting to hear from this candidate, waiting to hear from somebody who wants to represent us in the highest office in the land. The president serves the people. The people do not serve the president. And she won't even talk to the people. How can we possibly expect a president who is unwilling to listen to the real people of the world? How can we possibly expect her to know what you and I need? I think I was on the show yesterday, on Mark's show yesterday. Didn't he have a caller who was talking about how this election is a job to him? Mm-hmm. He's looking at this election, and if one candidate gets elected, he might not have a job anymore.
Right.
Hillary can't possibly be looking out for what some people would call the little guy. I'm the little guy. You're the little guy. Hillary can't possibly be looking out for us because she won't even speak to us. She went on Steve Harvey's show. Mm-hmm. The entire thing, fully scripted. I believe today she's recording on Ellen.
Yeah.
You think Ellen's going to press her at all on any of these issues? Do you think, I mean, Ellen is Ellen. She's going to get her to dance.
I was going to say, they're going to dance, and that's pretty scary.
And if I were Hillary's people, I'd say Hillary's not dancing. Do not ask her to dance. I do not see how this can help Hillary win the presidency. Maybe it makes her look more normal, but I think
makes her look fun.
Can she do the robot?
Maybe she'll do that shimmy.
Yeah, the shimmy when she laughs.
Yeah,
she kind of
go.
wiggles back and forth. If you're looking on the webcam, you can see me shimmying right now. I can't do it while I laugh. I have to practice that. But we have no true representation of who Hillary Clinton is, except for these WikiLeaks. Now, when it comes to the WikiLeaks, what does the Clinton camp say over and over and over again? It was a Russian hack, and you've got the leader of the Democratic Party saying, if you click on that, who knows what virus you're going to get on your computer if you click on that. If I don't click on that, I'm afraid we're going to get the virus that is Hillary Clinton in the presidency in the White House.
Yep.
You can't... It blows my mind that we can dismiss the WikiLeaks, that nobody has been able to come out and say, that's fabrication. That email that you're talking about right there, that's not true. That was manipulated. Or that sentence in that email, that wasn't there. And I have the proof. I have the proof right here in my actual email. Nobody is saying that. Yet the entire Democratic Party's line is, it's a Russian attack on the presidency, the election.
Or it's, I don't recall that email.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I don't believe that. I don't recall.
Yeah. That's the equivalent to, I'm sorry if you were offended. You were not sorry. And yes, I was offended. Yes. But here's the kicker. We have all of these allegations coming out on Trump from People Magazine and other places. We have all of these allegations coming out, and are they true? He's guilty before he gets to prove it. He has to prove his innocence rather than his guilt. Hillary Clinton, we have to prove that Russia hasn't screwed up the whole thing. Let's get to the short list right now because it's all about Hillary, and I'm done talking about her.
The short list brought to you by Bill Thomas Camper Sales. Find your camper at btcamper.com.
In the case of Hillary Clinton, with what we're seeing in these emails is a very different Hillary Clinton behind closed doors than we've seen in public, and we've heard no apology for that.
Let me start by saying Hillary Clinton has been a terrible candidate. And under other circumstances, she would probably lose, and you could have a real contest.
What he's been doing over the last week has saved his candidacy, whether people like it or not. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this sort of torched the earth. He brought, like, he went from 14 points down to 7 points down.
So there you have it. Hillary has no business being the president of our United States. She has no business leading this country. She doesn't understand you. She doesn't understand me. The things that make us different, she wants us to be just like progressives. They want you to fit in their mold of diversity. True diversity allows people to be who they want to be, to believe what they want to believe. And this Hillary camp, especially in their WikiLeaks, but I would even argue that they do it publicly. They just don't realize how condescending and elitist they are when they say it. They don't accept you the way that you are. And yet they will turn the tables on it and say that conservatives don't accept anybody for who they are. You want the party of true liberty. You want the party of true freedom. The conservative party, the Republican Party, which is stretching away from the conservative party in some regards, that's the party of liberty and freedom, because that's the party that says, I don't want the government messing in my business. I don't want the government coming in here and telling me and legislating how I do everything that I do. That you can't look at what Hillary Clinton is proposing for this country. She thinks she's the answer to every problem that has ever been presented to an American. And she doesn't even understand the Americans. She doesn't understand you. She does not understand me. But she's going to fix all your problems. She just wants you to surrender your freedom and your tax dollars for her to be able to do it. And I, for one, am not willing to do that. And secondly, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that does not happen. I'm the mother of 3. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-month-old. And I am willing to do whatever it takes for my children to make sure that she does not get to take away the America that I know, the America that I love, the America that my grandfather fought for in World War II. She does not get to take that away from my kids. And if that means that I have to go to the polls and vote for Donald Trump, I think that's exactly what I have to do. I'm not ashamed to do that, because that's what I'm willing to do for my kids. I don't think Donald Trump is the be-all, end-all answer for America, but I know that he's a hell of a lot better of an option than Hillary Clinton is. And I have no doubt at all in my mind that the America that we would have in 4 years from right now, if Donald Trump is the president, is a much, much brighter America than if Hillary Clinton manages to be president. After this break, we're going to talk to Kelly Quillette. Kelly is a 25-year-old stay-at-home mom. She has an 18-month-old daughter. She's from the East Coast. She minds her own business, and she wrote an article that blew up on the internet. And she wants to tell you why she's voting for Donald Trump. We're going to have her on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show.
The Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com.
The final presidential debate, October 19th.
Take a look at WikiLeaks.
And you can hear it right here.
Because you'd be in jail.
Okay, Donald.
Coverage starts Wednesday night at 7 with post-analysis until midnight. Details at 97.1talk.com/debate. Brought to you by Randy's Jewelry, where they make quality affordable.
You know, IT affects all of us, whether you think about it or not. If in your workplace or in your place of business, either one, if you're the owner, you have to have someone who understands how to set up your network, how the cloud works, all those things the rest of us never have to deal with. That's why I want to recommend ThrottleNet. At ThrottleNet, they understand that you don't want a long-term contract. At ThrottleNet, there are no contracts, but the employees deal with profit sharing, and they understand what it means to work hard and to get the job done and to be there when you need them. They want you to call them back, whether you need help with your one-person IT department or you already have IT in place and you need assistance with a large project. ThrottleNet can help. If you go to their website at throttlenet.com, they even have their own TV channel with all the latest updates in the industry. Could be invaluable to a business owner. Call them at ThrottleNet. You're really going to love the work they do. You can reach them at 866-826-5966 or throttlenet.com.
Welcome back to the 2016 mortgage debate. Ryan Kelly, you're always looking for ways to give back to the community. Why is that so important to you?
Being a business owner is more than just bottom lines. This year I climbed Mount Rainier for our 2016 Climb for the Kids. We raised over $15,000 for the fight against childhood cancer.
For the other banks and mortgage companies, how many mountains have you climbed for kids?
There is no debate. Refinancing or buying a home? Apply online at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana residential mortgage licensing.
Are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? Lion's Drug now has sildenafil, the same active ingredient in Viagra for less than $2 per tablet, a savings of over $40 per dose. Lion's Drug is a family-owned pharmacy in Lone Oak, Arkansas that offers low-cost generics as well as free shipping anywhere in Missouri and Arkansas. For more information, go to lionsdrug.com or call 844-676-2247. That's 844-676-2247. There is a storm building, a storm of new taxes. On top of the taxes we already pay. Property tax, gas tax, income tax, city, county, and state sales tax on goods. Now they want more. For 7 straight years, politicians and bureaucrats have pushed for new job-killing sales taxes on the services we use every day. Home and car repairs, daycare, banking, deliveries, even on medical care and funerals. Taxes that will hit working families and seniors the hardest. Sales taxes in Missouri are already too high. In some communities, over 10 cents on the dollar. New sales taxes on services could double that amount. We can stop this storm of new taxes by voting yes on Amendment 4. Amendment 4 was placed on the ballot by Missouri voters to protect Missourians from new sales taxes on services. Vote yes for Amendment 4, the Taxpayer Protection Amendment. Paid for by Missourians for Fair Taxation.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Stay tuned for a special offer from Budget Blinds.
Honey, I just tried to turn on the TV with the remote and our new shades went up. What's going on?
Oh, I got the new shades from Budget Blinds. They're motorized. Now we don't have to keep getting up and down to adjust them. We can do it with the push of a button. Pretty convenient, huh?
Wow, you're a genius.
The Budget Blinds motorization event is here with huge savings on the most stylish, kid-friendly motorized window coverings available anywhere. And right now, you can get a rebate up to $500 when you purchase motorized Signature Series window coverings powered by Somfy. Plus, Budget Blinds does all the measuring and installation and gives you a free in-home design consultation. Call now to get an up to $500 rebate on motorized window coverings from Budget Blinds. This event ends soon. Call your locally owned Budget Blinds at 1-800-590-5797. That's 1-800-590-5797. 1-800-590-5797.
Dave Glover.
The Dave Glover Show.
Friday on The Dave Glover Show, we're joined by George Mahey and Katie Cruz.
Dave Glover.
Now weekdays 3 to 7 on FM News Talk 97.1. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Annie Fry here, filling in for Mark Cox. You can hear my show on Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. And I'm filling in for Mark while he spends some quality time with his family, which is very much so deserved before the election. Just makes life absolutely nuts here at 97.1 if it hasn't already made our life crazy here. It's a busy time, and we're always working hard to provide you with the most current and up-to-date information to keep you educated going into November 8th's election. So in the first segment, I was talking about Hillary Clinton and how unfit she is to be the president. And I stumbled across this article on Facebook because it got shared from about 5 different people that I'm friends with. And these 5 people were not connected in my real life. And I thought, well, what's this article about? It said, why I'm voting for Donald Trump. And I read it and I was moved by it. And then I Facebook stalked Kelly Quillette from North Carolina or South Carolina, Kelly? Which Carolina are you from?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. So I found her and I begged her to come on. So Kelly, thank you so much for joining the Mark Cox Show. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, of course.
So you wrote this article. It says, why I'm voting for Donald Trump. And then the first 2 lines, a Christian. As it could, I wanted to give you an opportunity. As a 25-year-old female, I think most people would automatically put you in the Hillary camp. Why aren't you a Hillary supporter?
So, yeah, I think it's funny that so many people would put me in the Hillary camp. I know a lot of people my age, are in the Hillary camp. However, especially as a mom, the pro-life issue is really close to my heart. And so obviously wanting to vote for somebody who's pro-life and is going to protect the lives of unborn children. But even more so than that, Donald Trump, to me, seems to really have America's best interest at heart as far as protecting our country in general with his policies with national security, the way that he wants to revamp our economy, I think is really the way that America's going to get back on track. And I think, growing up in America, at the age that I am, I got to grow up, in a safe place, never doubting that I was safe, never doubting that I could grow up and be whoever I wanted to be, and get an education. And I think the direction our country is going now, I'm not 100% sure that that's always going to be the case, and so I think we definitely need change. We definitely need somebody who is going to bring America back to its roots. And I see that in Donald Trump and in a lot of the things that he talks about and the policies that he has. And I also think something that's really important that I think a lot of people my age aren't thinking about is the issue of the Supreme Court judges. And, it's possible that he will be able to appoint 5 new judges in his time as president. And, that's a huge number. I know it's not 100% sure that 5 of them, but, having a 7-2 Democratic majority, obviously as a Republican, to me, that sounds devastating for our country.
Devastating was the word I had in my mind.
Yeah. And I think it's important to keep in mind that whoever is appointed as these next Supreme Court judges is going to affect our country for generations and generations to come, much more than whoever just serves the next 4 years as president. And then another reason that I'm voting for Donald Trump truly is looking at who he's running with. Mike Pence seems to be such a man of character and integrity, and that gives me a lot of hope for who else Donald Trump might surround himself with in the White House.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head in the last sentence of your article. You said it. Mike Pence is a man of character, faith, and integrity, and if this is the first person Trump has hired, I have a lot of hope for who else might surround him as he serves this term in the White House. And I think that's a great point. The judgment that Trump showed, whether Pence was his first pick or whether he was coached to make that kind of pick, was a very smart pick, and that shows that he's able to either has the wisdom himself or he's willing to glean off of other people who are wise, who are offering him advice and taking it from there. I wanted to touch quickly on, you mentioned you're a victim of sexual abuse, and the story right now. There's 2 stories in the media, and one of them is much, much, much more covered than the other. There's Hillary's dishonesty in her WikiLeaks, but the story that's leading with Donald Trump has nothing to do with what he will do as president, but it has to do with the character assassination that they're trying to put on him. And some of the stuff is truly offensive. I don't know that you or I would defend a word of it. I wouldn't. But as a victim of sexual abuse, I'm curious, how does this affect you to hear these things, to hear that he's treating a woman basically as an object and degrading women in that case? I'm wondering why that doesn't have a larger effect on you, somebody who's experienced something that you have.
Right. Yeah, I think that's definitely a very valid question. But like you said, I definitely would never even try to justify anything that he's done. It's obviously offensive and terrible, the things that he said, and definitely, strikes a chord with me as somebody who has experienced abuse. But as I've told many of my family and friends, I think in this presidential election, we are far past voting for someone based on their moral character. And so I think personally, I've had to just try to take a step back from those things and look at the bigger issues and the bigger picture of what this means for America. And, you hear people talk about rape culture and just the culture of men being derogatory towards women, and how can you have a leader that treats women that way or says things about women? But obviously the president is a huge influence in a country, but if you look at all the other people who are huge influences in our country right now too, celebrities and people in the media, I actually was scrolling through Facebook today and somebody said if you put Donald Trump's comments to a beat made it a rap song, it would be the number one download on iTunes. And I was like, I mean, that's so true.
It is so true.
It's so true. And you can't pick and choose who you're going to allow, to make comments like that. It shouldn't be okay for anyone, but sadly enough, it's a huge part of our American culture. And I think, from a voting perspective, I just had to take a step back and look at, what the real issues are and what it really means for our country.
We're speaking with Kelly Quillette, just a mom from the East Coast who decided to share her opinions in an article on her blog. Lastly, before I let you go, I'm curious what you think about people who say that they just can't stomach a vote for Donald Trump. Maybe they're going to vote third party, or maybe they've even gone to the dark side and said, I can't let Donald Trump be president. I'm going to vote for Hillary. Or maybe they just decided to stay home. Why do you think it's so important that people show up and actually vote for Donald Trump?
Well, I definitely think it's important to show up and vote, number one, because regardless of what people want to say, I think you have to face reality that Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton is going to be the president, come November 8th. And I think, giving into fear and not wanting to pick either one and staying home, you're not affecting any sort of change. One of them, the outcome is still going to be the same. One of them is going to become president. And as far as voting for Trump over Hillary, like I said, I think our country is going in kind of a scary direction, and I think Hillary is going to keep propelling it in that same way, probably a lot quicker than people realize. And I think she, even along with the media, has done a good job of distracting people from what the real issues are by, attacking Trump for racism and sexism, which are huge issues in our country, but are going to be solved, by people coming together and trying to understand each other, not by, who we elect to be in office. And I think that people need to take a step back and look at the bigger issues. And I think when they do, they'll see that Donald Trump does have America's best interest at heart, that he's going to protect our country. He is going to restore us to the place that we were before as an economically stable place to be, a place that we can, welcome people and give them a better life and give them freedom. And I think that's why it's important to vote for Donald Trump and make sure that people show up and not just stay home or write in somebody on the ballot.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for joining the Mark Cox Show today. I really appreciate your time and your willingness to share with us your opinion. We're going to put your blog up on our website and share it so more people can hear the voice of a young 25-year-old mother. And your voice matters just as much as anybody else's that's ever on this station, and we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Thank you so much.
So that was Kelly Quillette. She wrote this article. She must have felt compelled enough to finally get these thoughts off her chest. I think a lot of us are like that. You just consume information and consume, and it's so frustrating that you just kind of need to let a little steam out before it explodes. And I was really glad that I stumbled across that article. We're going to share it with you at 971talk.com/Cox. It'll be up shortly. So thank you again, Kelly, for joining us. We're going to be back after this break, and we're going to talk about, it's somebody's 100th birthday, and it's a pretty despicable birthday to be celebrating. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to give away some Rick Springfield tickets. So if you want to have a chance at that, keep listening. If you want to weigh in on anything we're talking about today, you can call us at 314-969-9797 or toll free at 866-455-9797.
This is the Mark Cox Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM NewsTalk 97.1 Weather Center forecast, partly cloudy overnight while below 47 degrees. Then Friday looks good, partly sunny with a high temperature of 72 degrees. Friday night, partly cloudy while the low down to 60. Then over the weekend, it will be warm. Saturday, breezy, clouds and sunshine, your high 82. Sunday, the high 86, really not all that far from the record Sunday, which is 89. I'm meteorologist Dave Samuel for FM NewsTalk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. Do you know the current state of your hormones? Did you know that hormone imbalances don't start occurring just during menopause? It can start in your 20s. There's an excellent opportunity coming up for you to sit down with Dr. Eric Naputi, a nationally acclaimed holistic health expert. He's going to be at the Life Exist down in Fenton. It is coming up on October 18th, 6:45 to 9 p.m. Now, it's free. It's easy for you to get to. They're right on Champions Drive down there. No matter your age, your hormones should not control you. If you've been feeling symptoms like exhaustion or hair loss or hot flashes, even fighting to keep weight off, this is the event for you. Again, coming up October 18th, a Tuesday at 6:45. It's free, but you have to register. Go to their website, lifeexist.com. That's LIFEXIST.com to reserve your space. Spots will fill up fast.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
Lawns love fall. They love backyard touch football and kids diving into leaf piles. But what lawns really love is fall's cool air and warm soil. That's why now is the time to use Scott's Turf Builder grass seed to help repair and thicken your lawn from the long summer. Scott's Turf Builder grass seed grows grass quicker, thicker, and greener, guaranteed. So pick up a bag today. Fall time is yard time with Scott's.
Crooked career politician Chris Koster is one smooth talker, but his record? Koster is a hardcore abortion advocate, a 100% rating from the most extreme pro-partial birth abortion organization in the world. Koster admits expanding Obamacare by billions in Missouri is his top priority. Koster is a liberal career politician who's made millions off government and given thousands to Hillary Clinton. Even the New York Times calls Koster one of the most corrupt attorneys general in America. When you hear career politician Chris Koster, remember, he's corrupt, he's liberal, and the only job he'll ever fight for is his own.
Eric Greitens is anything but a career politician. The commander of a terrorist targeting cell. An entrepreneur who will create jobs. Eric Greitens, pro-life, pro-family, the guts to take on special interests and turn our state around.
Paid for by Greitens for Missouri, Jeff Stearman Treasurer.
It's a fact. The market is within striking distance of its all-time high. So isn't it time for you to capture your gains and take a look at safer alternatives? I can teach you how to participate in the market gains without ever risking a penny of your principal. This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group. Call me now at 314-993-9494 for a free financial review. First, we'll look at where you stand. Then we'll figure out where you want to go. Finally, we can show you some worry-free options that might be right for you. For nearly 40 years, I've helped people entering nearing retirement protect what they've earned, and none of them have ever lost a penny. Call me now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And just for coming in, I'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. This will teach you about safer retirement strategies and also show you how to generate more guaranteed income in your retirement. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or visit us online at retirementkey.com.
The Randy Tobler Show.
Hey, it's Randy, and can it get any crazier? WikiLeaks hammering Clinton, while ladies out of Trump's past claim he did do what he said he didn't at the debate. We'll cover it Saturday.
Randy Tobler, Saturday mornings.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
With me, abortion is not a problem of religion. It's a problem of the Constitution. I believe that until and unless someone can establish that the unborn child is not a living human being, then that child is already protected by the Constitution, which guarantees life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all of us.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Does that voice not sound like music to your ears? Oh, my goodness. In an election year like this, just to hear the velvety voice of Ronald Reagan is just soothing. It's so welcomed. So I told you on the other side, or the other segment, I told you that today is the 100th birthday, or the 16th is going to be, so it's going to be Sunday. The 100th birthday of Planned Parenthood. And if I follow National Right to Life on Facebook, I do not follow Planned Parenthood. Can't bring myself to do it. But I on the National Right to Life Facebook page, they mentioned that this was the 100th year of Planned Parenthood, founded by one Margaret Sanger. If you haven't heard of Margaret Sanger, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. In the 100 years that Planned Parenthood has existed, it's ensured over 7 million babies will have missed the opportunity to celebrate even 1 year of life. Founded on October 16th, 1916, by Margaret Sanger, she wrote an article entitled "America Needs a Code for Babies." And I also would like to mention, if you saw the latest Dinesh D'Souza film, he talks about this, and it's pretty impactful. These are a few highlights from this article that the founder of Planned Parenthood wrote. This is what she says. This is quotes from her. "The purpose of the American Baby Code shall be to provide for a better distribution of babies and to protect society against the propagation and increase of the unfit." Also goes on to say, "No woman shall have the legal right to bear a child, and no man shall have the right to become a father without a permit for parenthood." She also says, "Feeble-minded persons and others found biologically unfit by authorities should be sterilized, or in cases of doubt should be so isolated as to prevent the perpetuation of their afflictions by breeding." And finally, in her book, Woman and the New Race, she writes, "The most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it." This is the founder of Planned Parenthood 100 years ago, Margaret Sanger.
Let me say, with respect to your comments about Margaret Sanger, I admire Thomas Jefferson. I admire his words and his leadership, and I deplore his unrepentant slaveholding. I admire Margaret Sanger being a pioneer in trying to empower women to have some control over their bodies, and I deplore statements that you have referenced. That is the way we often are when we look at flawed human beings.
She says that she's a pioneer. She's a pioneer for women's rights, basically. Does what I just read to you sound like she's a pioneer for women's rights? It's disgusting. So I ask you, Hillary Clinton is a candidate for president. Donald Trump is a candidate for president. One of them is going to be elected. Here's a woman who wants to rule the free world, and she admires Margaret Sanger, who says that the most merciful thing that a large family can do is kill one of its infant members. Oh, I cannot even fathom the logic behind that. If you have a pro-life bone in your body, Hillary Clinton needs to be kept from the office of the presidency. That's without a doubt. So if National Right to Life has this website they put together, and it's called saddestbirthayever.com. Gives a lot of facts on abortion. It gives a lot of facts on the myths that are put out there by Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood likes to say that only 3% of Planned Parenthood services are abortions. Did you know that so I'm a 32-year-old woman. If I have 3 children, I don't want to have 4. I get pregnant and I want to walk into a Planned Parenthood because I want to get an abortion. So if when I walk in there, they provide me a pregnancy test to accurately determine that I'm pregnant. They do an STD screening. They may check my birth control, provide birth control pills, or any other services that they might actually want to lend to me. So let's say they do those 3 things: a pregnancy test, an STD screening, and a provision for birth control pills, and an abortion. I walked in there because I wanted to have an abortion. They consider that 4 separate services. So that's how they get away with saying only 3% of Planned Parenthood services are abortions, because they count every single thing that they do in an exam room as a service. Even though they're all probably for somebody who's walking in and is determined to get an abortion, they're all leading up to the abortion. It's all part of the abortion screening process. They count each one of those separately, which allows them to say, to minimize the horror of what they actually do there. That allows them to say that the actual abortion services that they provide are so much smaller. How manipulative is that? It's unreal. So you can go to saddestbirthdayever.com right now and you can sign a petition, which I signed myself before the show started, to try to get your voice heard that we need to end any possible tax dollars that go to aid abortion. And if our tax dollars continue to go to Planned Parenthood, they will continue to fund abortions. There's no way around that. So if you want to be a part of that, again, you can go to saddestbirthdayever.com and you can sign that petition there. Let's take a phone call here. Kevin, thank you for calling the show. You're on the air.
Yes, hi, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Great, I love your show.
Thank you.
I know you're talking about Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. I wish everybody would stop calling it Planned Parenthood when it's not planned. A planned parent, they get married and then they plan to have children. These people aren't. But anyway, why I really called was you got Trump and Clinton hollering about this and that. You got a lot of senators out there, governors, and they are mad at Trump. And the reason why is they're just jealous because a regular senator or a governor has not won.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has been president who's an outsider since Dwight D. Eisenhower in the 50s. So maybe this will be Trump's first, and hopefully it'll happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree with you.
They're just jealous of him. What Trump ought to do is just ignore everything and talk about what the hell he's going to do for the country, what he's going to do in order to help the people find jobs, help the economy, help everything.
Yep. Kevin, I completely agree with you. Thank you for calling the show. He has to stick to issues and stop defending. If these accusations are as crazy as they are, and they're only going to continue to come out, it's possible that they'll continue to release these accusations or these people who say that this happened to me on a plane and this happened to me when I was getting into the elevator. I don't know that Donald Trump didn't do those things. I hope he didn't. I'm not gonna assume that they're lying, and I'm not gonna assume that he's guilty, but it still doesn't make me want Hillary Clinton to be president any more than I ever did before I knew that stuff or after I knew that stuff. That's absolutely true for me. Jim, thanks for calling the show.
Annie, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Great show.
Thank you.
You guys are taking this whole Donald Trump thing all wrong. Donald planned this, okay? He's a genius.
Okay.
He's trying for a new demographic. He's trying for the Bill Clinton demographic. Now, all he's got to do to get the whole Bill Clinton demographic is rape somebody.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he'll get 100% of Bill Clinton's voters.
Maybe so, Jim. Maybe a little bit of stretch, maybe a little sarcasm there, probably both. I took a call on the Saturday show when somebody said that this whole accusation of Trump and the tape and everything is all part of Donald Trump's plan. And I don't think that Donald Trump is trying that hard. I think that there are avenues that are a little bit more paved than that one to earning the presidency. So I don't know, Jim. We can consider that, but I'm not so sure about it. We cannot continue to go over and over and over these accusations like it's the only thing that affects us. Do you look at this election and think that any of this election has to do with us? Do I look at this election and think they care about whether or not I can continue to pay, my mortgage when rates are everything, all the investments? Like, I can't invest in anything and get anything for my money. But if taxes continue to go up, I'm not going to be able to afford the things that I'm working hard to provide for my family. That's pretty basic stuff. And that's something that you can relate to and I can relate to. We want to provide for ourselves. We want to provide for our families. We want to take care of our own. And we want to live our lives. I don't need a babysitter, a governmental babysitter, coming in and saying, well, here's how this is going to work for you. This is how it works best for your family. I know what's good for my family. I'm a grown woman. My husband and I work very hard to provide for our children, to give them everything that we can, and to try to save as much as we can so that we can provide for ourselves down the road, to provide for ourselves in an emergency. And every time the government steps in and thinks that they can do better, they make it harder for us to do that. And the harder it is for us to do that, the less certain I am of my future. And I'm a fortunate person in that I have a job, my husband has a job, and we have careers that are moving in a direction we hope that are positive. My husband's a teacher. He's not bankrolling loads and loads of money. He's a private school teacher in Illinois. But it's not, we're not in this situation where life is easy, but we work hard and we understand how to budget our own money. And the government says that Hillary Clinton and people like her think they can take some of my money so that they can take it to Washington and provide for us. Look at Washington. Look at their budget. Nobody talks about the deficit. Nobody talks about the massive amounts of waste and corruption that goes on. We're talking about Donald Trump and some female who saw him in an elevator and he inappropriately touched her. I think that's sick. I don't think he should have done that if he did it. But they can settle that on their own. It does not affect my future with my family. We're going to give away some Rick Springfield tickets here real quick. You can win tickets to see Rick Springfield this Saturday at the Family Arena right now. And I have your chance to win 2 tickets to the show. Liz, what caller should we take? What does Mark usually do?
Whatever he wants.
Whatever he wants?
He does whatever he wants.
Mark says caller 9. I don't even know if that's okay. Caller number 9.
Good job, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. If it's wrong, it's Mark's fault. Caller 9 to 314-969-9797. You get a free pair of tickets to see Rick Springfield with Loverboy and Tommy Two-Tone. So call now. That's 314-969-9797. Caller number 9, because Mark said so.
Right.
Thank you for listening to the Mark Cox Show. My name's Annie Fry, filling in for him today. I appreciate you hanging out with me. We're going to give away some Howie Mandel tickets in the next hour. And we're going to talk about how much Hillary Clinton knows her everyday Americans. You feel like she knows you? I sure don't. We'll be back right after this.
You got me running, going out of my mind. You got me thinking that I'm wasting my time. Don't bring me down. No, 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 no.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Naputi Wellness. Catch Dr. Eric every Sunday at 3 on Wellness Matters. NaputiWellnessCenter.com.
Let me tell you about Dave Sinclair Dodge, the Pacific car and truck dealer. They're right there off I-44 in Pacific, easy to get to on Osage Street. This is the time to shop for a car. They've still got 2016s on the lot. Of course, Dave's got a lot of 2017s as well, but they have a 20% off deal right now on the 2016s that are still on the lot. According to Dave, the numbers are dwindling. You need to get down there and take a look at what they've got. Huge selection of cars. They've got a limited lifetime warranty that they offer at Dave Sinclair Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You need to ask a question about that. See if you could get in on one of these good 20% off deals. You remember the motto at Dave Sinclair. If it's not right, we're going to make it right for free. That's how things were done. That's how things are done at Dave Sinclair Dodge. So go see him in Pacific, right there at I-44 in Pacific, just minutes past the Six Flags exit. Easy to get to. Go to their website at davesinclairdodge.com.
Ever notice how one favorite pair of shoes can quickly turn into a dozen favorite pair? A few dress shirts become a closet full, and that spacious home you purchased 10 years ago now seems more than a little cramped. I'm Cassie Alsbach from Closet Factory, where we turn cramped into spacious every day. The Closet Factory designers work closely with you to make sure that your space uniquely serves the exact purpose you intended and does it within your budget. Since Closet Factory isn't a prefab company, we can create storage and custom furniture for any space in any area of the home. I invite you to browse our website at closetfactory.com to see samples of the thousands of unique designs we've created over the years. Closet Factory is our family-owned business, and we take tremendous pride in what we do. Contact us to schedule a free design consultation at 314-961-4300. That's 314-961-4300 or at closetfactory.com. Closet Factory, the art of organization.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. ZipRecruiter.com/
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
The Mark Cox Show, brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
I know this election has taken sometimes some very dark turns.
House Speaker Paul Ryan urging voters to take a step back and consider the larger choice between two different philosophies of governing.
One that is in keeping with our nation's founding principles, like freedom and equality, and another that seeks to replace them.
His speech to college Republicans at home in Wisconsin, not mentioning Donald Trump by name, just days after saying he'd no longer defend or campaign with the Republican nominee. And that was before allegations of sexual misconduct.
You're walking away from him now. It wasn't disturbing enough for you when he was saying Mexicans who come here are rapists?
President Obama telling a rally in Cleveland civility and kindness are on the ballot. Meantime, the Washington Post reporting there's another Trump accuser, a then aspiring model who claims Trump groped her on a couch in a Manhattan night spot in the early 1990s. His campaign denies it. Trump is due at a rally in North Carolina at this hour. He says the media should be paying more attention to what Hillary Clinton's inner circle was doing in hacked emails. Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Lisa, the latest WikiLeaks release shows the Clinton campaign discussed holding back some emails under congressional subpoena. The day after Congressman Trey Gowdy issued a subpoena demanding Clinton preserve all emails, campaign chair John Podesta emailed Nade, think we should hold emails to and from POTUS? That's the heart of his executive privilege. Deputy Press Secretary Eric Schultz was just asked about this, and he says he doesn't believe any emails between President Obama and then Secretary Clinton will be released. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. North Carolina just confirming 2 more deaths in the flooding after Hurricane Matthew. That makes 40 dead in the U.S. A tornado reported on the northern coast of Oregon as the first of 2 powerful storms roared through the region. Thousands without power there and in neighboring Washington. More high winds and heavy rain expected tomorrow. Fair and balanced.
When I listen to Audible, I'm not on mile 2 of my early morning run. I'm out searching for clues in the abandoned toy factory near the cemetery. As I make my way down to the basement, I can't help but feel like I'm being followed. Did that doll just move?
Who's there? They're getting closer!
I should really get a treadmill.
Go to audible.com/actnow and your first download is free. Audible. Stories that surround you.
America is taking the lead in energy.
Leading the world in oil and natural gas production. I vote to keep it going. With the right policies, we can produce, refine, and supply
more oil and natural gas.
And more abundant energy
means more affordable energy for American families.
A more secure America.
Jobs.
Opportunity and economic growth. For our children
and grandchildren.
That's why this election, I'm voting
for American energy.
Learn more at voteforenergy.org.
Join us
and become an energy voter.
Brought to you by American Petroleum Institute.
97.1 News Time 103. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Church.
St. John Vianney High School is suing the city of Kirkwood. Vianney has come under fire recently for the stadium lights and sound system at its baseball field. The city of Kirkwood has put limitations on the school's use of the lights and sound system following a series of complaints from those who live in the surrounding area. Vianney filed a lawsuit earlier this month that seeks to do away with those limitations because they, quote, prevent any meaningful nighttime or daytime use. Instrument theft is a real problem in the St. Louis area. Many bands have come through the city only to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment stolen out of their vehicles. St. Louis's Jesse Karen may have found a way to make sure that a person can recover their stolen items when this happens. Karen has designed a new guitar tuning pedal called the Smart Roadie that allows musicians to track where their equipment is with GPS. This news update brought to you by Small Business Monthly. One day, one purpose, build your business. Attend the St. Louis Business Expo on October 19th at the St. Charles Convention Center.
Medicare open enrollment is here, and now's the time to enroll in a Medicare plan for 2017. To learn more, call United Healthcare at 1-855-886-4695 or stop by one of the United Healthcare Medicare stores located at Ronnie's Plaza in St. Louis.
Hey, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. Let me throw some numbers at you. I'll start with the number 3, as in fixed mortgage rates in the 3s when you call me. Now, you may be saying to yourself, I already have a good rate. Not as good as a fixed rate in the low 3s, but it's going to take me a long time to make up the cost of a refinance. So I'm not going to deal with the hassle. Here's the next number, 0, as in you pay 0 closing costs. That's not a gimmick. The costs are not just rolled into the loan. I charge no lender fees, no appraisal fees. You don't even pay for the title. The next number is another 0, as in no PMI. I can also get rid of the dreaded private mortgage insurance. The last number, my phone number, 314-336-6050. Whether you want to save money on your current loan, buying a home, or need to take cash out, call me, Michael Mohan, at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. When you call, you speak to me, 336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage, LLC, 224143, NMLS 250353, APRs in the 3s.
It's Glocktober at Southern Armory. With Glock starting at the scary low price of $400, buying a Glock anywhere else would be crazy. See why for 30 years, Glock has been used by 65% of law enforcement. Remember, when the witches fly at midnight on Halloween, so do these prices. Hurry into Southern Armory to see the largest selection, the best pricing, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff. 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Smile Advantage. Not a costly dental insurance plan, but rather a simple membership plan that's uncomplicated and affordable. You pay one low annual fee for necessary checkups and cleanings and receive discounts on fillings, crowns, root canals, and so much more. It's the perfect membership plan for both seniors and uninsured patients. Only pay for what you need. No waiting period, no limitations, no yearly maximums. Save money by paying for dental benefits, not insurance. Visit SmileAdvantageSTL.com for details.
It's a fact. The market is within striking distance of its all-time high. So isn't it time for you to capture your gains and take a look at safer alternatives? I can teach you how to participate in the market gains without ever risking a penny of your principal. This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group. Call me now at 314-993-9494 for a free financial review. First, we'll look at where you stand. Then we'll figure out where you want to go. Finally, we can show you some worry-free options that might be right for you. For nearly 40 years, I've helped people in or nearing retirement protect what they've earned, and none of them have ever lost a penny. Call me now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And just for coming in, I'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. This will teach you about safer retirement strategies and also show you how to generate more guaranteed income in your retirement. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or visit us online at retirementkey.com.
This hour of The Mark Cox Show brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
Let's get it on. Is The Mark Cox Show.
Be grossly generalistic. You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? the racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Annie Fry sitting in for Mark Cox. You may have heard me on Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. I have the Annie Fry Show then, but today I get to be Mark Cox, which is quite a pleasure. So thanks for listening in. We appreciate you. So we've all heard the basket of deplorables comment. That's not news. But she's starting to pile on a little bit with other people.
In one 2015 email entitled Needy Latinos, Podesta urged Clinton to call former Energy Secretary Federico Pena, who is close to committing but carrying some baggage, and former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, notwithstanding the fact that he can be a blank.
So the needy Latinos are all the insert here phobics. So which one are you? I think I know which ones that she might accuse me of, and she'd be wrong. But if you're religious, if you are now Latino, she's got a problem with you. And so she didn't stop there. There's more.
They're talking about Catholicism here, and says it's an amazing bastardization of the faith. They must be attracted to the systemic thought and severely backwards gender relations. And then Palmieri, Hillary's communications director, says this: I imagine they think it is the most socially acceptable a political conservative religion. Their rich friends wouldn't understand if they became evangelicals.
So to these people who, at least in the Clinton camp, but this don't be confused into thinking that this is just something that the Hillary camp thinks about you. If you have a religious belief that they refer to as systematic thought and severely backwards. If you're religious, if you're a Christian, I should say, not religious, because there are religions that they approve of and you're not allowed to talk about. But if you're Catholic, and I would lump all Christians into that because they pretty much think the same thing about all of them, they think you're severely backwards. You know, I'm a Christian. It's an important part of my life. I understand the difference between being Christian and politics, as it were, where you can have religious beliefs that you feel very strongly about, but at times, if your religious belief conflicts with your political belief, you have to make the decision: do I go with my political belief or my religious belief? As a voter, you can absolutely do whatever you want in that category. You can take your religious belief, and you should stand proudly with your religious belief. As somebody who represents voters, you need to truly represent the people. And you need to understand that you need to put yourself out there. You need to, if you have religious beliefs, you need to stand strong in those and tell people what they are. But you also need to tell people how, when you are elected to represent the constituents, how does that religious affiliation affect how you represent? And hopefully, you know, Mike Pence is a strong Christian. Donald Trump says he's a Christian. I don't necessarily think that his Christianity may be the most driving force in his life, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for him. But I've never heard Donald Trump insinuate that other Christians are severely backwards. Hillary Clinton does not get you. If you think Hillary Clinton is going to solve your problems, she doesn't want to solve your problems. She wants to control you. She wants to take from you, and in return, she says she wants to take care of you. She wants to make life better for you, but she needs the power to do it. If you elect her, you give her the power to do it. You're going to have to give her your money also to do it. She's not even close to understanding what an everyday American is going through. She has not been an everyday American pretty much her entire life. She has nothing to reference. It's amazing to think that she could stand in the presidency and have any type of clue as to what you and I need here sitting in St. Louis, Missouri, or any of the suburbs that are around here, for her to understand where we hurt and how she can help us. We're going to take some phone calls here. If you want to join in, 314-969-9797, or you can call toll-free at 866-455-9797. I'm going to go to Terry first. Terry, thanks for calling the Mark Cox Show.
Hey, nice talking to you. I have one good question for you.
Okay.
The question is that this whole Donald Trump thing and everything, him harassing or offending people. You said you had a baby, 18-month-old. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but congratulations.
Thank you. She's 5 months
I
old. I have 3 kids, but yeah.
Oh, that's even better. We almost on the same playing field. but the thing is that I just have to ask you: would you allow one of your kids to come up to your mother or their grandmother and ask her, "Are you on your period?" Or call your mother a sleaze bag or slash hit you in the face? Would you high-five your kid or give him ice cream? Because Donald Trump has done this.
I might swat him on the rear. The high five would be pleasantly placed on their rear. No, I would.
I would too, but
I wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, but the thing is that I trust me, and I listen to your show. I mean, really, Mark Cox show. If I don't have time to do that, I understand about Hillary emails and stuff like that. But when you see him I don't think I allow my kid to make fun of the mentally ill and handicapped. He's done that. I don't see myself, voting for a man or anyone that does these things. He'll tell you one thing, which he has done. Last year, like this past debate, he said he never made fun of the handicap. But you got him on TV doing it. It's not like, if somebody computerized and fixed this. It was on Fox News.
What he did, Terry, what he did at that rally was not politically correct, but the way it was presented was also not completely accurate. There was a reporter there who had a disability of some kind, and it was made to seem worse than it was. It doesn't mean that it was acceptable for him to behave the way he did, and I'm not excusing that. But what I'm going to ask you a question. You say, from what you know, these mistakes and very inexcusable things that Donald Trump has done in his personal life, those are more important to you than the things that Hillary Clinton is willing to do with the freedom of the citizens of this country. It offends you more that Donald Trump has disrespected women, and I'm a woman, and I'm saying this, so it offends you more that Donald Trump acted this way than it does when you know what Hillary Clinton is going to do to this country. Are you a Democrat or are you a Republican?
I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle. Have you ever voted for a Republican before?
Honestly, no.
No. So I understand where you're coming from. If you're a Democrat, if you have left-leaning affiliation, and you're looking at Donald Trump and you're saying, how could somebody vote for this person? I get it, because your policies don't align with it. But if you're a person who loves freedom, and if you're a person who loves the greatness that is America, and that's not even a play on words for Donald Trump, America is great, and it's great because of its people. It's not great because of its government. And Hillary Clinton wants to make the government bigger and more bloated than it is right now. She wants to take care of you, but she thinks she can do that better than you can. Do you think Hillary can take care of you better than you can take care of yourself?
I think I can take care of myself just fine. Thank you.
Well, I agree with you. I support your ability to take care of yourself, Terry. And I thank you for calling the show. I love talking to people who don't necessarily line up with me, because I want to know what you think. I want to know why you think that way. But when it comes down to it, Hillary Clinton does not want to make you any freer than you are today. She wants to take that freedom away from you. Donald Trump wants to give America the chance to be free again. That gives you the opportunity to succeed and the possibility to fail, and that's a good thing. That's what you get to do in America. Jay, thank you for calling the show.
Yeah. If Donald Trump wants to win, there's a very simple thing to do, and I'm a politician myself. Go out and hold a press conference. Get everybody out there, walk out on stage, and have everybody stand up. Turn around and start saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Once you get done with the Pledge of Allegiance, turn around to the press and say, now, I'm sorry for what happened in the past. The past has got to be forgotten. We have got to work towards the future to make our country great again and make it strong again. I'm sorry once again about the past. I hope I didn't offend too many people, but now my job is to work towards the future. And if I'm elected president, my first day in office after being sworn in, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make our country great again.
Yeah, I
Turn
think
around and walk off and don't answer anything from anybody.
Lord knows Hillary would A, probably be offended by the Pledge of Allegiance, and B,
Sure.
would not hold a press conference, because then that means she would have to talk to people who represent us. So,
Right.
yeah, I like your idea there, Jay. Thank you for calling the show. There is very, very, very little patriotism anymore in this country. And even if you go back to the Democratic National Convention, they had to be reminded to put flags out at the convention. How do you forget the flags? The flags are like the coolest thing that you put out there. It's a spectacle. The flag is what makes, to me, the flag represents all of us with all of our flaws and all of our disagreements. The flag is what continues to make all of us free and gives us all the right to talk about our flaws and our differences, and it allows us to coexist together. That's what the flag stands for to me. I think Jay might be onto something there. Maybe we can get Liz, can you call into Trump and make sure that they hold that press conference?
I can always put the call in. I make no guarantees past that.
The call will be placed.
The call will be placed.
Cody, thank you for calling the Mark Cox Show.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
I just had a quick question. Like, with the both candidates, I've seen it more on Hillary's side than I have Trump's side, but it just seems like Hillary's just trying to throw everything she could find at Trump to get everybody to vote Hillary. And I haven't voted one time in my life, and I'm 29 years old. I'm voting for Donald Trump.
You're showing up?
Yeah.
And why this time? If you've never voted before, why now?
Well, when Bush took office, I kind of figured that he was going to win just because how everything was playing out.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured we were screwed. My vote, me being the one person, I don't think it would change anything. And same thing with Obama. I just seen it going downhill.
Yeah.
And if Hillary takes office, it's just going to keep spiraling down. I think Trump's actually a better candidate. I don't agree with what he did about, the tape, but then again, that was so long ago. And there's probably not one male or, females do it too.
Yeah.
Everybody says vulgar things, whenever you're hanging out with your friends. It is what it is. But don't judge a person because of that, because, the decisions you make today would, make you a person, not the past.
Yep, I agree with you, Cody. Thank you for calling the show. It's exciting to hear new people getting motivated enough to make a difference this time. Like, your vote does matter, and somebody called into Jamie's show this morning and said the same thing. They're signed up to vote, and this is the first year where they felt like this is a responsibility that they really owe themselves and they owe their fellow citizens. We're going to take some more calls here after the break, but first we're going to give away some Howie Mandel tickets. Lindenwood University's Jay Scheidegger Center for the Arts proudly presents Howie Mandel this Sunday, October 16th at 7 p.m. And right now I have your chance to win tickets. 2 tickets to the show. Caller Mark let me know it's caller 10 this time. Caller 10, Frank. To 314-969-9797. You get a pair of tickets that you can pick up at the Lindenwood box office before the show. So get info and purchase your tickets by going to luboxoffice.com. So call now. Caller number 10 to 314-969-9797. Win some Howie Mandel tickets. We're going to be back right after this with some phone calls, and we're going to have guest Matt Palumbo, who is a writer for AlanBWest.com, co-founder of UnbiasedAmerica.com, and he's also a millennial, and he's got some stuff on the WikiLeaks that you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Good morning. Can't you see what your love has done?
The Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com.
I've always listened to your point of view.
Log on to 97.1talk.com/Halloween and check out the Dave Glover Show Halloween page, full of audio, video, and all the great stories from paranormal investigations at 97.1talk.com/Halloween.
Brought to you by Mort's Royce Jewelry and Johnny Brock's Dungeon.
You need to go to the website for Dr. Michael White. It's sunsethills.dentist. How cool is that? A website that ends in your profession. Sunsethills.dentist. When you go on the website, and you click on services, you'll see the wide variety of things that they can do for you down there. So maybe you need cosmetic dentistry. Maybe you need fillings. They do crowns and bridges and dentures and dental implants. Even orthodontics. Invisalign is available down there. That's important. They do all of that. But what sets Dr. Michael White apart is that he's going to sit down with you first, and he's going to get to know you, and he wants to find out what's important to you. What do you need? Are you afraid to come to the dentist? He doesn't like that. He does practice anxiety-free sedation if you need it. He's not going to judge you if you haven't been to the dentist in a while. If you don't have a dentist now, I think you would be very pleasantly surprised with the services and the individual who is Dr. Michael White. Check him out at www.sunsethills.dentist. Call 314-270-8552. Get your first consultation and exam for just $1.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Are you willing to gamble your family's safety that it'll never happen to you? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Wise Food Storage provides affordable, ready-made gourmet meals with a super long 25-year shelf life. Meals like pasta Alfredo, cheesy lasagna, breakfast, dessert, drinks, and snacks. Just add water and your family is eating delicious food instead of fighting for scraps in a food riot. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal delivered right to your front door. And for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Once done, you're set for 25 years. Be wise and be ready with Wise Food Storage. Call for your free sample now. 800-724-7188. 800-724-7188. 800-724-7188.
Have you heard what they're saying about Amendment 3? It's a tobacco tax on our November ballot. They say it's all about the kids. They say politicians and unelected bureaucrats can't touch the money. But that's what they've told us before about casinos, lottery, and the 15-year plan. We've heard this story before, and you deserve to know that Amendment 3 will actually create a slush fund for bureaucrats to dole money out from. Amendment 3 contains troubling provisions, including gag orders for those that take Big Tobacco's money. In other words, Big Tobacco is funding Amendment 3 to crush their competition. Amendment 3 isn't for the kids. It's for Big Tobacco. On November 8, say no to this tobacco tax scheme. Say no to Amendment 3. Paid for by Missouri Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Store Association, PAC. Ronald J. Leone, Treasurer. Vote no on Amendment 3.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
At Ameren, Illinois, we're not just powering homes, businesses, and neighborhoods. We're powering growth across the entire region. From strengthening our gas delivery system in Edwardsville to installing smart grid technology in Belleville, we're improving reliability throughout central and southern Illinois. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/projects. Ameren, Illinois. Energy at work.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here. Join me this Saturday at the St. Charles County Republican headquarters in O'Fallon from 9 to 11. Pick up yard signs, bumper stickers, buttons, and hats for all of the GOP candidates. Get all the details at 97.1talk.com, and I will see you on Saturday.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time.
You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow Mark on Twitter at MarkCox971.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Annie Fry filling in today for Mark Cox. Make sure you go to the website, 971talk.com/Cox, and everything that goes on the show with interviews and articles and everything, you can always find there at 971talk.com/Cox. You can also follow along on Facebook at facebook.com/Cox. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I would love it. Follow me at Annie Frey Show. That's ANNIEFREY Show. Love to have you there. Before I get to Matt Palumbo, I want to take a call here real quick. Gus, thanks for calling the Mark Cox Show.
Yes. Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am talking to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you didn't say my name. I didn't know who it was, but that's okay. I very much appreciate your pro-life stance, and I've always wondered how anybody could claim to be a Christian and vote for somebody like Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is Margaret Sanger was one of the most racist people you could ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole program was to establish a master race, where we've heard about that before in Germany, of course.
Right.
And some issues, I'm a single voter issue,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Kane did a terrible job. If he was pro-life, he forgot to finish the sentence where he said, well, I'm pro-life, but I support a woman's right to choose. He has to finish the sentence. To choose what?
Mm-hmm.
I support a woman's right to choose to kill her baby.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if we're going to do that, then what's to keep me from saying, I want to kill you?
Yeah.
And these people, I don't understand, especially in the black community, where 75% of the abortions, from what I understand, are in the black community. And how can the black voters support someone who is attacking and killing their own people?
Yeah.
I'd like some comments on that, if you don't mind.
All right. Gus,
Thank you.
Gus, thank you for calling the show. I mean, I understand that too. And my stance on being pro-life is at the very core of how I vote. And I know that's not like that for every Republican. I understand that. I don't myself consider abortion to be a social issue. I think it's a life issue. You know, you've got Tim Kaine, who said he couldn't stomach the death penalty, but can't stop women from having abortions. I'm the one thing that I will say when it comes to the abortion debate, and this is the thing that as a 32-year-old woman who's had 3 children and could have 3 more if I wanted to. Oh Lord, please. No, but I love my children. But the one thing that I will say as somebody who is of this age is that the argument of abortion becomes a extremely heightened religious argument and an extremely heightened political argument. And you have a lot of people fighting and a lot of people making accusations. And at the end of the day, you have a woman who might be a young woman. She might have already had 3 kids and she's 40 and she got pregnant and she doesn't know if she can keep that baby. So we're not just talking about promiscuous 16-year-old girls who don't take responsibility for their actions. It's not like that at all. And you still have a woman sitting in a clinic and she's being made told to think that this is an okay and normal thing to do. And you're not taking into consideration the effects that abortion is going to have on her after the abortion is over. And that's a tragedy. People don't talk about that. People want to talk about telling women to be less promiscuous. They want to talk about women making better decisions. We all make mistakes. And those women sitting in those exam rooms are being sold a bunch of lies that result in the tragic death of a baby and the tragic mental state that they're going to have to deal with later in life when they realize the truth, the facts behind what they did. So thanks, Gus, for your phone call. I appreciate it. We're going to move now to Matt Palumbo. Matt Palumbo is a writer for AlanBWest.com. He's great at churning stuff out on this WikiLeaks stuff. Every time I turn around, he's got another thing out. Co-founder of UnbiasedAmerica.com and a fellow millennial. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining the Mark Cox Show today.
Yes, my pleasure. Good to be on.
So I'm going through Alan West's website here, and I see you just cranking these things out one after the other, and we're talking about how these WikiLeaks dumps, they're happening so quickly. What is your 30,000 a mile-high view of what WikiLeaks is doing to the Hillary camp. What's happening now that the curtain's being pulled back?
Well, it's certainly giving a different angle to corruption in her campaign than what their first hack did when they hacked the DNC back in July. And what that showed was that the Democratic establishment was in the tank for Hillary, that they were conspiring against Bernie, generally doing things to help Hillary ensure that Hillary would get the nomination. And for the past 2 months, Trump has been saying that, well, the media, or Hillary Clinton has a friend in the media that they're campaigning for her as well, and the newest batch of WikiLeaks emails is certainly confirming that to some extent. So just to give 2 examples, there was a New York Times story ran on her in 2015, and they basically gave her line item veto power in the story. So anything she didn't like, she could tell them and they'd remove it before it went to publication.
Mm-hmm.
And in another case, there was, I believe it was CNN who hosted it. It was the Democratic town hall with her and Bernie Sanders. And we learned that Donna Brazile actually leaked one of the email questions to Hillary Clinton so she could better prepare for it. Now, these are just 2 examples that we know about. So it probably happened, maybe 10 times more than that if we were to know the full details. But it certainly shows a lot of collusion between her and the press.
Mm-hmm.
This is just what we've known from the emails that have been released so far.
So we've talked a lot so far in this show today about the viewpoint of Hillary and her campaign on how they view us. And, the term that was thrown in a Podesta email, something about how she hates the term everyday Americans.
Yeah.
What does she think of the everyday Americans?
Yeah, so, I originally didn't know how to interpret it. It was, is she saying she hates ordinary Americans or just the phrase ordinary Americans? And I guess to her defense, I would say she's probably just attacking the phrase.
Right.
But she certainly does try to fit that ordinary American mold when she's campaigning. I mean, she's used the phrase in a lot of her advertisements. She tried to pretend that she was dead broke when she left the White House. So it certainly is an image we've seen her try to portray herself as. And it's kind of ironic because Mitt Romney was attacked for his wealth when he ran, and I think he was worth something like $300 million or so. But I mean, Hillary is worth, her and Bill combined are in the hundreds of millions. So, it's kind of a double standard we see applied to both candidates.
Yeah, she tries to portray herself. My favorite go-to is always the everyday hot sauce in a bag thing. I don't even know.
Yeah, there's actually, there was a Taco Bell outreach comment in one of the emails, too, when they were referring to Latino voters.
It was a what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
In one of the emails, they were talking about their strategy for Latino voters, and they refer to it as Taco Bowl outreach.
Taco Bowl outreach, that's despicable. I want to commend you for this article that you wrote, New Email Unmasks Hillary Has Begun to Hate, and you're talking about this everyday Americans thing, and you point out the way you have it worded here. It says newly leaked emails, and you used an article from the Daily Caller. Newly leaked emails reveal that Hillary Clinton hates the phrase everyday Americans. I think a lot of people have run with that and tried to make it so that she does hate just everyday Americans. And as you said, I think there's an important distinction there that she didn't. I don't think that what was said in this email is that she hates everyday Americans, although the case is made throughout other emails that she certainly doesn't understand them. And secondly, she despises some of the things, the Catholicism, that the Christianity. I think that people tend to lump Christians into the Catholic, if you're not in the religious community, it's kind of like Catholics equals Christians, Christians equals Catholics. But she's going on and on and on about how they're deplorables. Bill Clinton just referred to himself as a standard redneck, but he did it in front of a crowd where it was enormously insulting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ironic that Trump's worth between $4 and $10 billion, and he does a better job, connecting with so-called ordinary Americans than Hillary does.
Right.
I think to some extent, some comedian described it as, if the average blue-collar worker won the lottery and was a billionaire, Trump is the kind of billionaire they would be. So I don't know. It's kind of why I think he's done a much better job of connecting with people than Hillary has.
Well, we look forward to following the stuff that you continue to post up at AlanBWest.com. People can follow you on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle? It's Matt Palumbo?
Matt Palumbo 12, and if you wouldn't mind linking to it too, that probably help.
Yep, I can definitely do that. I'll tweet it out from mine, Annie Fry Show, and from the stations, and we'll put this interview up at 971talk.com/Cox. So thank you very much for joining us.
All right, perfect.
Always great to talk to a fellow millennial. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's interesting to look at these articles that are being put out because they're being put out so quickly they're not in a place where they're actually long, elaborate, descriptions of what was said. It's just, okay, this is what we found in this email, and this is what was said, with maybe a brief summary, and then pretty soon there's another one. So these leaked emails are coming out so fast and so furious that it's interesting to just keep tabs on it, because these people are doing the hard work for us, so that I don't know, Liz, if you've delved into the WikiLeaks world. Have you searched anything in WikiLeaks yet?
No. I don't know. Something about it weirds me out. Just it's like it's so much information on there. I think that I'm like, it's overwhelming, and I don't know that I can. Take it all.
I would
in.
liken it to currently in my house. We are sorting. We're going from one size of clothes to the other. But we have 3 children, and we have a boy and 2 girls.
Right.
So when we do that, oh my goodness, the living room it's a jungle. And so you buy totes and you put everything, but it's so immense of a job from the very beginning. You don't even want to do it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like WikiLeaks. I'm going to refer to it as my own personal WikiLeaks.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're going to come back right after this break. We're going to talk with Michael Bekesha, who is with Judicial Watch. He is an attorney on the case. They just submitted a bunch of questions that Hillary had to answer in written form, and he is going to lay it out there for us so that we can understand this latest development with the ongoing email gate scandal that Hillary has found herself in. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
I got my mind set on you. Set on you. But it's gonna take money.
This is the Mark Cox Show.
It's gonna take plenty of money.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM NewsTalk 97.1 Weather Center forecast, partly cloudy overnight, while below 47 degrees. Then Friday looks good, partly sunny with a high temperature of 72 degrees. Friday night, partly cloudy, while below down to 60. Then over the weekend, it will be warm. Saturday, breezy, clouds and sunshine, your high 82. Sunday, the high 86, really not all that far from the record Sunday, which is 89. Meteorologist Dave Samuel for FM NewsTalk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. We got our kitchen countertops from Granite Transformations several years ago, long before they became a sponsor of this show. Let me tell you about this product. It's fantastic. Whether you're looking for a granite countertop or maybe quartz or recycled glass or mosaic tiles on your backsplash, you need to look at the selection at Granite Transformations. They have an office, a showroom right in Chesterfield, just off Chesterfield Airport Road next to Espino's. Easy to get to. Go in and take a look. You're going to be impressed. This is manufactured in the USA. The work crews are going to come in, they're going to take this product, they're going to lay it over top of your existing countertops. They're often in and out in a day. It has a lifetime warranty, and it doesn't chip or crack, and you don't have to seal it like you do with granite. So don't be fooled by those granite guys that give you a cheap price till you find out all the extras. You're going to get a one price, out-the-door price at Granite Transformations. Go to their website, granitetransformations.com/St. Louis or 636-728-1100.
Thank you, St. Louis. From your new friends at Distinctive Diamonds. Response to our fresh new concept in jewelry shopping has been amazing, and we thank you for so quickly embracing us and letting us earn your trust. Every day we see smart shoppers leaving the other stores and making the switch to Distinctive, where we live up to our claims. More selection, higher quality diamonds, better diamond education, and the guaranteed best diamond prices in Missouri. All this plus the largest selection of designer engagement rings you've ever seen. Not cheap knockoffs from an in-house jeweler. These are handcrafted rings from world-renowned designers. Rings made to last a lifetime in gold, rose gold, and platinum. Your incredible response proves this is a concept that's been long overdue in St. Louis. So before you buy that engagement ring at the same old ordinary jeweler, take the Distinctive Challenge. Come see the place that everyone's talking about and get the value, the quality, and the service you deserve. Distinctive Diamonds, the new, smarter, better way to buy a diamond at City Place at Olive and 270, where St. Louis now gets engaged.
Ed Brock here with Johnny Brock's Dungeon. So in this awesome business, you never know what the day is going to bring or what the customer is going to ask for. So here I am working the register. Okay, so I wasn't working the register because I always seem to screw that up. I'm in the register area when these guys come in and had been in several times that week requesting somewhat obscure items. Tutus, tights, fairy wings, wigs, and now they want blank pink satin sashes. My curiosity got the best of me and I asked, so what are you guys going as? The creative response was awesome. We're going as fairies. Newhall's Fairy, Tesson Fairy, Limay Fairy, and Darty Fairy. I lost it. Love the creativity. So come see us at Johnny Brock's Dungeon and let us help you be whoever you want to be. Because that's what Halloween is all about. Fun. Speaking of fun, I'll see you at the Freak Show. Johnny Brock's Dungeon 3rd Annual Halloween Bash on Saturday, October 29th at Ballpark Village. Advance tickets available at ticketfly.com or at Johnny Brock's Dungeon.
Crooked career politician Chris Koster is one smooth talker, but his record? Koster is a hardcore abortion advocate, a 100% rating from the most extreme pro-partial birth abortion organization in the world. Koster admits expanding Obamacare by billions in Missouri is his top priority. Koster is a liberal career politician who's made millions off government and given thousands to Hillary Clinton. Even the New York Times calls Koster one of the most corrupt attorneys general in America. When you hear career politician Chris Koster, remember, he's corrupt, he's liberal, and the only job he'll ever fight for is his own.
Eric Greitens is anything but a career politician, the commander of a terrorist targeting cell, an entrepreneur who will create jobs. Eric Greitens, pro-life, pro-family, the guts to take on special interests and turn our state around.
Paid for by Greitens for Missouri, Jeff Stearman Treasurer.
Mitch McConnell's going to fight for the repeal of Obamacare.
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
Now, the way you do this, Mitch.
Mark Levin.
Create political pressure. But you're such a marble mouth, people can't even understand what you're saying.
Mark Levin.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Good to be with you. Annie Fry filling in for Mark. You can follow me at Annie Fry Show on Twitter, but make sure you check out 971talk.com/Cox and also facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show so that you can stay up to date with everything going on with the Mark Cox Show all the time. You don't want to miss it. So we're going to be joined now by Michael Bekesha. Michael Bekesha is with Judicial Watch, and he's an attorney on the case right now. This is a really interesting story. Michael, thank you very much for joining the show. We appreciate you having you.
Thanks for having me.
So I would like you to kind of lay out the land and explain, what did Judicial Watch do? You sent questions to Hillary Clinton about her email situation, but lay it out there for us so that we can understand the direction that you're taking with this, and also what you plan to do with the information that you got in the future.
Sure, absolutely. So, a couple of years ago, Judicial Watch sent a FOIA request to the State Department. That's a Freedom of Information Act request. We asked for records related to Huma Abedin, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff and Hillary Clinton's personal aide, how she was able to get this special deal where, while she was still working for the State Department, she could also work for the Clinton Foundation and Teneo and all of these other organizations and, take paychecks from all these different places. Part of our request was looking for emails of Hillary Clinton. We didn't receive any, and we dismissed the lawsuit. We then learned about a year and a half ago that Mrs. Clinton was not using State Department email accounts. She had her own email account set up. Mm-hmm. And so we reopened this lawsuit, and throughout that process, we started arguing to the court, hey, it looks like Mrs. Clinton and the State Department deliberately thwarted FOIA. That, she set up this special system so that none of her emails would be made public. And the court agreed with us. The court thought that there was enough evidence to seem to suggest this was the case, and he would let us go find more answers. And so we deposed 7 former current and former State Department employees, including Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and Brian Pagliano. And then we still had more questions. So we asked the federal judge if we could ask questions of Mrs. Clinton. And he agreed. And so in August, we submitted 25 questions to Mrs. Clinton. And just last night, she answered the 25 questions under oath.
Perfect. So when you got the answers back, was it what you expected? Or did you find out any new information, or what was the reaction to her answers?
Yeah, we didn't really find out any new information. We got a couple bits and pieces here and there, but, it wasn't really surprising. I didn't expect for her to answer much. And like Mrs. Clinton and, her husband do, they answer questions in the most lawyerly way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, we asked 25 questions, and at least 20 times she said, "I don't recall." So, we're talking about things that happened between 4 and 7 years ago, and she simply just couldn't recall anything. She couldn't remember if she talked to anybody, if she thought about the issues. Simply she couldn't recall anything. And so it wasn't really surprising, but it was really disappointing because Mrs. Clinton continues to say that it was a mistake and that she wouldn't do it again. Well, she's never really fully answered questions about why she did it and why she thinks it was a mistake and why she wouldn't do it again. And this was her opportunity to, provide information to us, but also to, share with the American public what exactly she did wrong and why she did it. And she just simply refused to do that.
So what's the next step now that you have her answers, or maybe even more apropos non-answers? Do you move forward with what you have? Do you stop? I mean, I feel like the Clinton people are saying she answered him the same way she's been answering him for basically years now. Nothing new has come out. She's been consistent. So what's the next step?
Yeah, as I said, we got these answers last night, so we're still taking a look. We're still evaluating them. Probably the next step for us is on October 24th, so in a little less than 2 weeks. We're deposing another former State Department official. His name's John Bentel, and he was in charge of the IT department for the Secretary's office while Mrs. Clinton was Secretary of State. So we have lots of questions to him about what he knew, or maybe even what he didn't know while she was Secretary of State. And after we take that deposition, we get his testimony, we have some time to review Mrs. Clinton's answers, then we'll see what the next step is. But, based on what I've seen so far and how we compare it to some of the evidence we've gathered, her answers don't really seem all that credible.
Right. I'm looking through here. I have all 25 questions and all 25 responses listed here, and you almost have to be a lawyer to understand all of the ways that she's avoiding answering any of the questions. Like, I can sit here, I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on the radio, but I can see how she's not answering all these questions with legalese. And then, as you said, the final response is, here's all the legal reasons I'm not going to answer, why I'm not going to answer. And then she says, but I don't recall blah, 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 blah. And so it seems like there's minimal cooperation here. I guess the fact, like you said, Hillary and Bill are both educated lawyers. It probably helps them quite a bit, and they're surrounded by lawyers as well. So go ahead. They're
being represented. Mrs. Clinton's being represented by David Kendall. He's the one that signed it, and he helped Bill during impeachment hearings. And he goes back to their Yale days at law school. So, Mr. Kendall's been working for the Clintons for 20-plus years. He knows how to do what they want done, and that's what happened here. As you were just saying, looking through the answers, there's one point, I think it's like question 4, where Mrs. Clinton says she doesn't recall having any communications about her decision to use the Clinton email account to conduct official government business. But then in the very next question, she says that Colin Powell advised her about his use of personal email to conduct official government business. Now, she remembers he advised her, but doesn't remember if they had any conversations about it. So I'm not really quite sure how he could have advised her if they never communicated in any type of way about it.
Yeah.
So they're just very lawyerly answers that aren't straightforward and, really do a disservice for not only the rule of law, but the American public.
Well, we appreciate yourself and Judicial Watch continuing to put the pressure on the Clintons, Hillary specifically in this case, because not many people willing to put the pressure on the Clintons these days. And as your website says, nobody is above the law, and the Clintons should not be exempt from that either, especially if they want to run this country once again. So we appreciate your efforts, and we hope that you continue to push and hopefully find what you're looking for and maybe get some actual answers out of them for once.
We hope so. Thank you so much.
That was Michael Bekesha with Judicial Watch. He's an attorney on this case. It'll be interesting to see if they come up with anything. As a non-lawyer looking at all these questions and answers, Mark actually forwarded this email to me last night, and he was talking about it a little bit. But it's just amazing how evasive they are. And in the email that I read earlier in the show, Hillary Clinton didn't want to talk to the press for months after she announced that she's going to be the president or wants to be the president. If I am going to elect a president, I want to feel like they've done everything they possibly can to take the true pulse of America, not have an agenda that's preconceived where they walk into the presidency and they have all these things that they want to do because they have a legacy that they want to fulfill, and then they do what they have to do by raising enough money. And in Hillary Clinton's case, she raises boatloads of money from Wall Street, and then she turns around in stump speeches and she says contradictory things there. It's like, how do you trust this person? It really baffles my mind. So Judicial Watch is on the case, which is good because they're dealing with some of the most experienced at a high level lawyers that we have in this country, and it is not the email situation. Is it ever going to go away? Are people ever going to stop caring? If she gets elected, are we just going to stop investigating these issues, these scandals? I don't think so, but I think there's too many people in America that are interested in making sure that she isn't above the law. But if she's the president, what kind of power does that give her to continue to evade the rules and regulations that she, as the executive of this country, puts us little people underneath? She's going to end up president if people don't show up and vote for Trump. And I'm not driving the Trump train. There's a caboose on the Trump train. I'm on the ladder, hanging off, waving at people shyly as the train drives by. And I'm like, hi, this is Annie. I'm on the Trump train. Because the Hillary train is taking the country off of a cliff. I don't want to be on that one. But he's our choice, people. Hillary cannot be the president. And the only way to stop her is to vote for Donald Trump. And I may physically hold my nose while I do it, but I'm going to do it because it's the right thing. It's the right thing for my kids. That's for sure. We're going to be back after this with some next hour. I'm excited. We're going to have the Illinois Policy Institute in, but first we're going to have the Show Me Institute in. We're going to talk Missouri and Illinois policy. They kind of have similar issues. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of the Mark Cox Show.
Well, the market was down last week and up again and then back down, and you're never sure what's going to happen next. And quite frankly, your financial advisor can't tell you exactly what's going to happen next. It's a guessing game. That's the great thing about Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group. They teach you how to participate in market gains without risking your retirement savings. In fact, your retirement savings aren't invested in the market. That's important, particularly if you're at or near retirement. So here's what you do. You call Thomas Helbig, 314-993-9494. You sit down for a free financial review. He looks at where you are. He finds out your concerns and where you need to be, and he can show you some worry-free options. How does that sound? That might be right for you. In nearly 40 years he's been helping people. None of his clients have ever lost a penny. Call him at 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494, or go to retirementkey.com.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Are you willing to gamble your family's safety that it'll never happen to you? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Wise Food Storage provides affordable, ready-made gourmet meals with a super long 25-year shelf life. Meals like pasta Alfredo, cheesy lasagna, breakfast, dessert, drinks, and snacks. Just add water and your family is eating delicious food instead of fighting for scraps in a food riot. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal delivered right to your front door. And for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Once done, you're set for 25 years. Be wise and be ready with Wise Food Storage. Call for your free sample now. 800-724-7188. 800-724-7188. 800-724-7188.
October is here. That means it's time for the annual Great River Road Chestnut Roast at Forest Keeling Nursery in Ellsbury. Bring the whole family out Saturday, October 15th. Of course, they'll have their famous roasted chestnuts along with other delicious fall foods. The event will feature local vendors and live entertainment, including bluegrass and folk music featuring Sarah Hook, plus special educational presentations such as monarch life cycle and migration, beekeeping, plus crafts and activities for the kids, beer tasting for the adults, different demonstrations throughout the day, and as always, they'll have great deals on seasonal trees and plants. Learn more about Forest Keeling's fast-growing RPM-produced trees, shrubs, and plants, including selections of their popular Chinese chestnut, which is fast becoming the most valuable nut tree. This is their biggest event of the year, so don't miss it Saturday, October 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Forest Keeling Nursery, just off Highway 79 in Ellsbury. See you at this year's Great River Road Chestnut Roast.
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
The Mark Cox Show, brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. FM News Talk 97.1.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lisa Brady. Donald Trump has at least 2 new accusers. One of them, Kristen Anderson, telling the Washington Post he groped her on a couch at a Manhattan night spot in the early 1990s.
The person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at that time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt. He did touch my through my underwear.
His campaign denies it. A 7th accuser holding a news conference right now in California.
It's a total setup.
Trump, moments ago at a rally in North Carolina.
Now suddenly, after many, many years, phony accusers come out less than a month before one of the most important elections in the history of our country.
He again denies all of the allegations and says in most cases he doesn't even know the accusers. Also accusing the media, again, of spreading lies to help Hillary Clinton.
The process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged.
House Speaker Paul Ryan, in so many words today, urging voters to look at the big picture and reject liberal policies.
Beneath all the ugliness lies a long-running debate between 2 governing philosophies.
Reaching out to millennials, Ryan telling a college crowd in his home state, Wisconsin, that most Americans think the country is on the wrong track. In his pitch for keeping a Republican majority in Congress, Ryan never mentioned the Republican presidential nominee days after announcing he would no longer defend Trump. President Obama says Trump's never shown any regard for working people.
And then suddenly he's going to be the champion of working people? Come on. Come on, man.
This at a rally in Battleground, Ohio.
You want to know what somebody's going to do? Look what they've been doing their whole lives.
The president also criticizing Republican efforts to walk away from Trump now as not good enough. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
When I listen to Audible, I'm not cooking dinner for one. I'm on horseback, galloping across the Scottish moors towards my one true love. There, through the mist, I see my beloved, kilt flapping in the breeze. The fibers of his shirt struggle against his bulging muscles as he takes me from my horse and... my frittata!
Go to audible.com/actnow, and your first download is free. Audible. Stories that surround you.
America is taking the lead in energy.
Leading the world in oil and natural gas production.
I vote to keep it going.
With the right policies, we can produce, refine, and supply
more oil and natural gas.
And more abundant energy
means more affordable energy for American families.
A more secure America.
Jobs,
opportunity, and economic growth
for our children
and grandchildren.
That's why this election,
I'm voting
for American energy.
Learn more at voteforenergy.org.
Join us and become an energy voter.
Brought to you by American Petroleum Institute.
97.1 News Time 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Church. Missouri's election authority is not worried about hackers getting into the state's voter database. The Secretary of State's office says that voter data is secure ahead of the November election. Security experts say that the fear is not so much that voter IDs will be stolen, rather that hackers could remove some names from the rolls and create problems on Election Day. St. Louis County Police are searching for a missing elderly man. A silver advisory has been issued for 73-year-old Robert Reich. He was last seen walking away from his home yesterday. Authorities say that Reich suffers from dementia and a heart condition and requires medication. Anyone with information is asked to call police. A Park Hills man is going to spend the rest of his life in prison for prostituting a teenager. Marcus Thompson pled guilty in May to prostituting a 15-year-old Metro East girl at truck stops and trailer parks in multiple states. This news update brought to you by Renters Warehouse, the professional landlords of Rent Estate, renterswarehouse.com.
With yoga gaining popularity, so is the use of aromatherapy. OrganicInfusions.com sources its oils farmed direct and passes the savings on to you. Go to OrganicInfusions.com today and experience it for yourself. OrganicInfusions.com.
The domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell has been the partner men can count on for over 25 years. Hello, my name's Joe Cordell. Over those years, tens of thousands of guys across America and now in the UK have turned to Cordell & Cordell when everything was on the line. We're proud of that expression of trust, but we know the responsibility that comes with it. Our tremendous growth is a result of our tremendous commitment to a core set of values and an obsession with client care. If we ever lose that focus, we'll cease to be the partner that guys will count on. We get that. So you can be sure that our focus over the next 25 years will stay on those values that got us where we are and that our clients have come to expect.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Offices in St. Louis, St. Charles, Jefferson County, Edwardsville, and Belleville.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Stay tuned for a special offer from Budget Blinds.
Honey, I just tried to turn on the TV with the remote and our new shades went up. What's going on?
Oh, I got the new shades from Budget Blinds. They're motorized. Now we don't have to keep getting up and down to adjust them. We can do it with the push of a button. Pretty convenient, huh?
Wow, you're a genius.
The Budget Blinds motorization event is here with huge savings on the most stylish, kid-friendly motorized window coverings available anywhere. And right now, you can get a rebate up to $500 when you purchase motorized Signature Series window coverings powered by Somfy. Plus, Budget Blinds does all the measuring and installation and gives you a free in-home design consultation. Call now to get an up to $500 rebate on motorized window coverings from Budget Blinds. This event ends soon. Call your locally owned Budget Blinds at 1-800-590-5797. That's 1-800-590-5797. 1-800-590-5797.
Every 10 minutes, someone is added to the National Transplant Waiting List. At the SSM Health Transplant Center at St. Louis University Hospital, we want to make a difference. I'm Dr. Henry Randall, SLU Care Physician and Chief of the SSM Health Transplant Center at St. Louis University Hospital. Sign up to be an organ donor, and if you or a loved one are on dialysis, find out what transplant options exist for you. Learn more at slutransplant.org.
The Financial Symphony is a show that blends the worlds of music and finance together in one harmonious package. It features your local financial maestro, Jerry Means.
A lot of advisors out there are mainly giving accumulation advice or looking at the growth through your working years. You really need to take a look at, is your advisor giving you advice on preservation and distribution?
That's the Financial Symphony with Jerry Means, Sunday mornings at 9 on FM News Talk 97.1.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Smile Advantage. Access to dental care you need at a price you can afford without the hassle of dental insurance. Now in St. Louis at multiple locations. Learn more at smileadvantagestl.com.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
Let's get it on. Is the Mark Cox Show.
Welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. Andy Fry here filling in for Mark Cox as he spent some quality time with his family. You might have heard me on Saturday nights from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Andy Fry Show, aptly named Andy Fry Show. But they asked me to come hang out here for today, this afternoon, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Make sure you go to 971talk.com/Cox to check out all things Mark Cox Show, Facebook.com/Cox, Facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show. And also you can follow me on Twitter at Annie Fry Show. We are now joined in studio by Michael Highsmith of the Show Me Institute. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Annie.
We are talking about the millennial strength that is in this room right now. If you are sitting at home and you are not a millennial and you have an idea in your head of what millennials are, you're wrong. Because there are some very bright millennials in this room. We've talked to some earlier in the show. Don't let people paint a bad picture about them, because there are lots of us who are trying to contribute and are educated and are willing to see things for the way they are. So Michael is one of those, and he's working with the Show Me Institute. And we have Frank here also from the Show Me Institute. So I'm an Illinois girl, Michael. I told you that I'm not as well versed in the Missouri state politics as I am in the Illinois state politics. And I explained that in Illinois, we have a few problems that we need to address. And so I've got my hands full with all the things that are screwed up in my home state. But I got this article that you guys wanted to talk about, and you have something about unfunded liabilities going on in the city of Bridgeton?
Yeah, so this is a pension issue that we're working with here.
So we know all about that in Illinois.
Yeah. Very familiar with the
topic. And I have no solutions to offer you, I'm sorry.
So what I want to talk about and what the article's about is the state auditor released an audit last week on Bridgeton, and it just evaluated their pension plan, and what they found was it painted a pretty bleak picture, honestly. Mm-hmm. Things weren't looking too good. The plan's about 2/3 funded, and there's $14 million in unfunded liability. And that's a fancy way of saying, essentially, there's not going to be enough money to pay out employees when they retire. There's not going to be enough for them. And there's a couple different things that caused this that created a perfect storm here. Mm-hmm. The city was contributing funds to this, but they weren't contributing adequate funds to it, so not enough money was going into investments. In addition to that, investments weren't making as much money as they predicted, so again, it fell flat. And then we actually found out that the Finance Commission didn't meet for 3 years straight to even check in on things. So
I've heard this story before.
Sounds familiar?
Yeah, it sounds real familiar. I'm sorry.
So yeah, just to anyone who's not familiar with the whole pension argument, the whole debate going on right now, there's essentially two types of pension payments, or two plans. There's defined benefit plans and there's defined contribution plans. Okay. A defined benefit plan essentially says when you retire, we will pay you X amount of dollars every year until you die, the rest of your life.
That's usually what people think of
when
you
hear
the
word pension. Exactly.
Yeah, for what us younger folks have heard of these things called pensions.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I think most people consider.
Right. So when you hear the term pension, you think defined benefit. You can associate the two. The other side of things is more 401k-ish. It's defined contribution. So what this is you can throw in your money. Some plans will match it with an employer will match it, and it accrues investment money. And when you retire, you have that lump sum of money that you can treat as you would a 401k. I think most people are pretty familiar with that concept as well.
That's more a private sector traditional way of doing things
and so
now.
What trends have been showing is private sector has been shifting significantly to defined contribution, because a lot of times these past defined benefits haven't been able to pay out the promises that they've made. They've been falling short on these investments, and because of that, they don't have the money that they need to pay out retirees. And that's not the trend that we're seeing as much in public funds. And we look at Bridgeton right here as the golden child poster example of this. One of two things is going to happen. Either employees won't have enough money for retirement, or taxpayers will have to step up. Taxes will have to be increased in order to fund that.
So the problem that I often see in this situation is the people who are supposed to be receiving these pensions that they've been promised are the ones who are on the hook, and sometimes they get painted as the bad guy in the situation. When you said that the finance committee didn't meet for 3 years,
right?
So you've entrusted the government, the local government, in this situation to manage this for the people, which is what you can is a defined benefit. Is that what you called it?
Right. Yeah. Defined benefit is the pension.
So you have this defined benefit option where you surrender some of your funds. I know for educators or people who work like that, sometimes it's part of their contract that you're supposed to contribute this much, but maybe this district will contribute a portion of what you're supposed to contribute as a benefit, which is great because benefits should be offered to make the job more competitive. But you, at the end of the day, in this situation with the Bridgeton Employee Retirement Plan, you have people who are counting on something that's not going to be there because the government mismanaged it.
Right. And in a lot of these situations, these defined benefits by contract, they are legally binding. The city or the municipality, whoever's overseeing the entity, has to make sure they have to come up with some kind of a way that these funds come out. And in the case of Bridgeton, because it was their own local ordinance, they're not legally bound. But you would certainly hope that when someone's trying to retire, they'd have the funds that they were promised at the same
absolutely.
time.
Because they're counting on that. Social Security is something that we're all wondering. You see it come out of your paycheck every 2 weeks or maybe twice a month or maybe monthly. You see the Social Security coming out of your paycheck, and I think the younger of us look at that like we hope we get some of it.
Right.
You're not relying on it, but we can also understand, too, that the Social Security that comes out of our paycheck isn't our money. It goes to pay for the people who need the Social Security money right now.
There's a bit of a fundamental difference between the two. Social Security is set up so that current payers are paying for the future generation who's retiring on it. These pension plans, the idea behind it is that the money you put in is available for you on retirement. It's a self-funding, and it should go with you. And Bridgeton, actually, I have to give them credit. They saw this problem, and they switched over to a defined contribution in 2012. But even though they switched over 4 years ago, they're still having to deal with repercussions of things that happened 20 years ago.
So did the switch over, does that just affect a certain amount of employees?
Yeah, so anyone who is a future employee from January 1st, 2012, they are in the defined contribution, whereas past employees are still in the old system.
Yeah, so they're at least making an effort to stop the bleeding.
Exactly. They're stopping the bleeding. They're cutting the wound off. And
It's good to see that somebody understands that you can't continue on this path of destruction, so that you acknowledging the problem and understanding and accepting the problem is the first step.
That's the first step, right?
It's the first step, and to see that the city of Bridgeton is doing that is encouraging. But I just find it to be so interesting that these types of situations are popping up all over the place. Is the defined contribution something that, I don't know if you've looked into this, are a lot of people going to this defined contribution? Did Bridgeton take a page out of a different book?
So it's a lot more popular in the private sector right now. There's roughly 10-15% that are on defined benefit plans still in the private sector, whereas it's much higher. It's 80% or so in the public union, or in public sector, sorry. And so to take it on a nationwide scale, the defined benefits, the plans they're getting caught up on themselves. And right now, the Pew Charitable Trust came out, and they found that there's roughly $1 trillion worth of unfunded liabilities nationwide. So
yeah, that's terrifying. We're talking with Michael Highsmith at the Show Me Institute. You can see everything they do at showmeinstitute.org. So I'm curious then, what's the reality of the shortfall? Where does the city of Bridgeton, where do the taxpayers find themselves? Are they going to have to face the music?
Yeah, so, I mean, actually, to pull a quote from the mayor right here, he flat out said, if you were guaranteed that pension, you're going to get that pension. We will have to scrape up and come with other means, which may possibly mean contributing more money into it. And we've seen that. In 2015, last year, actually, they passed a hotel tax that's going to be used to help fund these pensions. And it's roughly $2 extra for every person that stays in the hotel. And it's essentially, it's raising a tax which might cause hotels to move out of the area. It might reduce the business climate, but something has to be done to cover it.
Yep. So if you move the hotels out of the area, how many jobs go with those hotels?
Exactly.
This is a perfect example of government mismanagement of funds. You would think that it would have Well, not if they're not having their meetings, but you would think they'd notice that there is a problem sooner than now. But once the problem is there, you have to honor that obligation to people who've been counting on it.
Right. So this situation is a perfect example of mismanagement. But the bottom line is all these defined benefit plans are making a promise that they can't guarantee that they're going to keep. And with a defined contribution plan, it's a much safer investment. You can guarantee whatever is going to be there for an employee when they retire.
So what is the liability on the taxpayer, not necessarily the recipient of a defined contribution? Is there a liability on the taxpayer?
No, taxpayers are not on the hook at all for a defined contribution because by definition, whatever it accrues is what's available to an employee.
So you get to, as the person who's going to be the beneficiary of that money, you get to put in what you want to put in.
Right.
You
manage it how you want to manage it.
Maybe there's a bit of a match that's provided by the city, which is the same as like an employer. Here you can get a match if you put in up to so much percentage of your total paycheck. They'll match a percentage of that. That's a very common practice. It's not like it's this
it's
brand
not a
new
radical
idea
at all. No.
But for some reason, it's so hard to pull the government wheels away from the way they've been doing it for so long. Even when the facts show you that it is not working.
Right. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's a political incentive behind it too, because you're making a promise that doesn't have to be cashed in until 30 years down the road. Mm-hmm. So, someone in office obviously want to promise the bigger returns as big returns as possible. And back in 2001, actually, a long time ago with Bridgeton, they upped their multiplier rate so that they increased benefits for retirees because they were doing really well. And that kind of came back up and bit them in the butt.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, you guys can read more about this. We'll link it up on our website. We'll put up this interview, and you can follow us at 971talk.com/Cox, but you can also check out showmeinstitute.org. Is there any other places you like to send people to?
Yeah, you can go to our website, or you can follow us on Twitter at ShowMe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And real quick before we break, so you're young and you're studying politics from the Show Me Institute. How'd you get here?
Well, I actually just graduated from St. Louis University with a degree in economics, and I was an intern there at Show Me back in the day, and I liked it so much I wanted to come on board full time.
What's your favorite thing about working in the industry that you work in?
Honestly, it's my office environment. I love the colleagues I work with.
That's cool. Well, it's good to see young people actually investing themselves in something like this, and it's not something that I would see a 22-year-old and think, oh, you work for the Show Me Institute. That's really cool. So it's good to see you, and it's good to see Frank here, who's with you, investing your time and your brains and your smarts into something that is contributing the way you guys are. So it's pretty cool. So go to the showmeinstitute.org. You can read up on it. Public pensions hadn't planned for this. Everything that we just talked about is there, and lots of other stuff. I mean, you guys are churning it out like crazy, right?
Right. We're doing what we can.
You're doing what you can. We appreciate that. So thank you guys for joining us in studio. We appreciate it. If you guys want to see the webcam, you can always go to 971talk.com/Cox, and you can check out what's going on in studio. Particularly cool when we have in-studio guests. We're getting new cameras. We're changing things around. If you're watching and the camera falls over, we're sorry. We're trying to make it a better experience for you. But yeah, we like to have you come in and peek, pull the curtain back on radio. It's an interesting concept to watch radio happen. So join us, 971talk.com/Cox. We're going to be back right after this. We're going to talk to Ted Dabrowski. He's the VP of Policy with the Illinois Policy Institute. We've got lots of problems over there. Nobody is surprised. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe how we could solve some of that. So stay tuned. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. We'll be back right after this.
Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com. Younger.
Law and order.
Smarter.
We cannot just say law and order.
Better.
If we don't have it.
Election 2016.
We're not going to have a country.
Happens right here.
Saying more crazy things.
On FM News Talk 97.1 and 97.1talk.com.
If you're looking somewhere for a dinner tonight, how about Espino's Mexican restaurant out in Chesterfield, right there on Chesterfield Airport Road, easy to find, just off Highway 40. Of course, we talk a lot about how good the food is. That almost goes without saying. Excellent traditional dishes, not the stuff you find on regular restaurant menus at Mexican restaurants in the St. Louis area. Generous portions, great appetizers. And here's the deal. What's coming up? the holidays. What are you going to do? Entertain? Why cook yourself? Let Espino's do the work for you. They have a great catering menu, whether it's a Halloween party you've got coming up or maybe the Thanksgiving holiday or you're having people into your house over the Christmas holidays. Think of Espino's. They do great catering. You can go to their website and read their full catering menu and see what you can choose from, and they will cater to events of all sizes. 636-519-0044, Espino's, MexicanBarGrill.com.
Have you heard what they're saying about Amendment 3? It's a tobacco tax on our November ballot. They say it's all about the kids. They say politicians and unelected bureaucrats can't touch the money. But that's what they've told us before about casinos, lottery, and the 15-year plan. We've heard this story before, and you deserve to know that Amendment 3 will actually create a slush fund for bureaucrats to dole money out from. Amendment 3 contains troubling provisions, including gag orders for those that take Big Tobacco's money. In other words, Big Tobacco is funding Amendment 3 to crush their competition. Amendment 3 isn't for the kids. It's for Big Tobacco. On November 8, say no to this tobacco tax scheme. Say no to Amendment 3. Paid for by Missouri Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Store Association, PAC. Ronald J. Leone, Treasurer. Vote no on Amendment 3.
It's a fact. The market is within striking distance of its all-time high. So isn't it time for you to capture your gains and take a look at safer alternatives? I can teach you how to participate in the market gains without ever risking a penny of your principal. This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group. Call me now at 314-993-9494 for a free financial review. First, we'll look at where you stand. Then we'll figure out where you want to go. Finally, we can show you some worry-free options that might be right for you. For nearly 40 years, I've helped people in or nearing retirement protect what they've earned, and none of them have ever lost a penny. Call me now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And just for coming in, I'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. This will teach you about safer retirement strategies and also show you how to generate more guaranteed income in your retirement. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or visit us online at retirementkey.com.
Seidenstricker is your partner in worksite productivity. Right now, get the all-new John Deere 312 GR skid steer starting as low as $24,999. John Deere redesigned the G-Series for enhanced performance and comfort, plus bigger fuel capacity and better durability. They might be small, but they sure are mighty. Stop by one of our locations or visit Seidenstrickers.com.
Offer ends 10/31/16. Prices and model availability may vary by dealer. Restrictions apply. Other special rates and terms available. See dealer for details and other financing options.
Lawns love fall. They love backyard touch football and kids diving into leaf piles. But what lawns really love is fall's cool air and warm soil. That's why now is the time to use Scott's Turf Builder grass seed to help repair and thicken your lawn from the long summer. Scott's Turf Builder grass seed grows grass quicker, thicker, and greener, guaranteed. So pick up a bag today. Fall time is yard time with Scott's.
The Annie Fry Show.
Hi, I'm Annie Fry, and I have a new show Saturdays on 97.1. From the Millennial Minute to Rosie the Riveter, I can guarantee you won't hear a show like this anywhere else in St. Louis. I'll even cover Illinois. So listen to the Annie Fry Show Saturdays from 5 to 7 on FM News Talk 97.1.
You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
Welcome back into The Mark Cox Show. Annie Fry filling in for Mark. You can follow me on Twitter at Annie Fry Show. Otherwise, make sure you check out 971talk.com/Cox for everything The Mark Cox Show. We just had the Show Me Institute guys in here talking about Missouri problems. We're going to bring in Ted Dabrowski now. He's from the Illinois Policy Institute, and he is here to talk about a couple things that I really want to relay to you listening in the car right now or at home. So, Ted, thank you very much for joining the show. It's good to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I've gotten this question multiple times, and I got the literature in the mail. Proposed amendment to the Illinois Constitution, and it's all blue, and it looks very official, and people are like, I don't know what this means. So can you kind of lay the land out for me and tell me what are we voting on, yes or no? What does a yes vote mean? What does a no vote mean? What's the story here?
Sure. Well, it's kind of an interesting and tricky thing. In Illinois, there's a lot of people who want amendments to the Constitution for things like, how we draw our maps to determine who we vote for, and whether we should have term limits or not to kind of control the mess that we've had in Springfield and in the state. And instead, we ended up with one amendment here, and it's about, how we spend in Illinois our transportation money. And for years, the state has collected transportation money through gas taxes and things like that. But in the end, the legislatures had the freedom to spend it on other stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you can see that a little bit in our infrastructure in Illinois. Some of it's not very attractive.
Right.
And so there's a whole lobby, and you can imagine that it included contractors and transportation, companies and things like that, who wanted to make sure that whatever money is raised into the transportation fund, or the road fund is what it's called, that it would be spent on infrastructure. Now, that sounds pretty fair, right? If we're going to raise money for infrastructure, we should spend it on infrastructure.
Right.
The only problem is that we're putting something like that into the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the kind of thing that belongs in a Constitution. Our legislature should be, disciplined enough to spend money that it raises for infrastructure on infrastructure. So it's a little weird. It's hard to go against, but it's also strange that we would have something like this in our Constitution.
Right. I completely agree with you. And it's interesting. My visceral reaction to this is that I want money raised to go where it's supposed to go, but we have a huge crisis in Illinois right now, the pension crisis, and it's untouchable because it's kind of in this lockbox, just like the transportation funds would be if this passed.
Yeah, and so what it does is right now pensions has the priority above everything. If we want to fund social services, if we want to take care of our poor, disadvantaged, if we want to put a little bit more in education, well, you know what? We can't because pensions is sucking up all that money. Now imagine we create another lockbox, now just for transportation. Suddenly we got these two things that are kind of dominating the finances, and it's locking everybody's hands. I understand why some people voted for this, but it's just another weird thing to complicate how Illinois does business.
Yeah, I agree, and it's interesting to think that if you the contrary to saying yes, put it in the lockbox, is saying no, we trust our legislators' judgment to use the funds according to the best benefit of the people of Illinois. And it's hard to say even that these days, that you could actually entrust them with this type of responsibility because everything has been handled so irresponsibly for so long.
Well, you're absolutely right. We haven't had a balanced budget since 2001. We spend more money than we take in pretty much every year. And so, like you said, we can understand why anybody would be skeptical. By the same token, how the heck did this one thing, right, how did this one amendment related to transportation funds get on there? And it just raises a lot of question about the lobbying that's required to get that on there. Big business loves this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Fund my big transportation projects and pay me lots of money. So it's a tricky one, and it's not an easy one for anybody to take a position on. So I understand the confusion and why you get lots of questions.
Right. So it is an interesting way to look at it too, because this type of a lockbox where you raise the transportation funds through things that have fees, motor fuel taxes, vehicle registration fees, other things that have to do with highways and roads and all that stuff. You raise these fees. Does it go to benefit the people of Illinois, or skeptically, as a citizen of Illinois, I'm wondering, does this go to benefit friends of people like Mike Madigan who have buddies that are contractors that are going to be guaranteed this kind of money in the future? I don't necessarily have the utmost trust that putting this money aside and making it untouchable is really for the people's benefit rather than the political benefit of those who are allowing this one amendment to see the voters on November 8th.
Well, I think that's the sad part. We know that no matter where money goes in Illinois, it tends to fall into corrupt hands. I think we've got a pretty good reputation for that, sadly. But that said, here we got an amendment like this, but when we try to reform pensions, we can't get that done. when we try to put spending limits on this government, we can't get that done. So the stuff that we really need to protect taxpayers, to bring down, we have the nation's highest property taxes. We'd like to get those things through a property tax freeze done, and we can't yet. Somehow, on big transportation type deals, it looks like they won out.
Yeah, somehow or another, this has become of the utmost priority in a state where pretty much everywhere you turn around, there's disarray. And to pivot here a little bit, but to also talk about the disarray that does exist in Illinois, there was a poll done by the Paul Simon Institute, and it found that 47% of people that they surveyed want to leave Illinois. And 57% of millennials and 58% of people 35 to 50. The thing that struck me the most about that age group, those are the people who are going to be paying the most taxes in the next couple decades to help Illinois get out of the mess that it's in. If those people leave, what is Illinois going to do?
Well, Annie, I've been saying that for a while now, that I went to Detroit a few years ago when they went bankrupt, and the biggest lesson I learned from them was they said, respect your taxpayers. And we totally disrespect our taxpayers, and like you say, the millennials are the core taxpayers of the next couple decades. If we chase them away, we've got a huge hole in our economy. And we've seen these kind of numbers in the past. Lots of people wanting to leave, and a lot of people are quick to poo-poo on the numbers and say, "Oh, it's of course we have bad weather and things like that." But we've tracked the migration numbers, and people leave. A lot of people go to Texas, a lot of them go to Florida, California, but there's a whole bunch of people. They go to Indiana, they go to Wisconsin, they go even to Missouri, right? I mean, so we're losing out. Illinois loses out its people to all states in the nation practically, and so it's kind of a message. People are starting to connect the dots that the corruption, the taxes, the pensions, Mike Madigan, all those things end up meaning something like, maybe my future's not here in Illinois. I may have to leave. And that's what the big thing we have to change, and that comes first by respecting taxpayers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm raising 3 children in Illinois. My husband and I are both from Illinois, born and raised across the river from St. Louis. And I have to say, when I talk about, if I'm talking about Illinois politics, or maybe there's a new tax that gets put out, or an election year comes around, when I talk about it, and I'm working here in Missouri, people look at me and they say, "Why are you still there?" And I say it's because it's my home. Generationally speaking, it's my home. But there's going to be a point where it's not the best thing for the future of my family to have to be put under this just massive burden. And when I leave it all behind. That is not, if I decided to move next week to Missouri, I could continue my job, I could continue my life, and I leave all of Illinois behind. I don't need to give them anything anymore, but their problems are still going to exist. And when the taxpayers leave, the tax burden still exists, the debt still exists, the pensions that are unfunded still exist, and people are still going to not get what they've been promised by these politicians. And I don't even know what the solution is. Do you have a solution?
It starts a cycle, right? Because if the taxpayers leave, and like you said, the burden is still there, and there's fewer taxpayers left, well, that means they got to get taxed even more, and so that spurs more people to leave. So it just creates a vicious cycle that you can't get out of. But I think, I think our politicians forget, and for the older crowd, it's hard to move, right? You want to stay. You've had your whole family in Illinois forever. Your history's there, but for the up and comer millennials, this is a global world now. It's a mobile world, and they're not tied in the same way that the older generation is. So, I think that's the thing that we have to be most cautious about is chasing away the future and the youth.
So we have an amendment on the ballot on November 8th to try to figure out where to put transportation funds. What can we do for taxpayers in Illinois to secure their future, to actually, for once, put these taxpayers first?
Well, I think it's going to start, and something we're going to be pushing is a property tax freeze. Believe it or not, but there's so much that revolves around how much spending goes on at the local level that drives spending at the state level. And so a lot of that starts with freezing how much we spend at the local level so that we don't have so many units of local government, such big bureaucracies to pay for those. all these, baggage handlers for superintendents, and we just have way too many public sector employees, and they're really, really expensive. So with the property tax freeze and some other comprehensive work around that, we start to control the size of government and the expenditures, and again begin to respect taxpayers. And I think that's a starting point.
I agree with you. We're talking to Ted Dabrowski with the Illinois Policy Institute. You can see everything they crank out at illinoispolicy.org. Last thing I want to talk to you about is this proposition for a taxpayer Bill of Rights. Can you kind of explain to me what that would mean from an individual citizen's perspective? What would a taxpayer Bill of Rights mean to me?
Well, wow, this is one of those where you respect taxpayers by a government has a spending limit. And, any government that exists should have limits on how much it spends. It shouldn't just be able to spend whatever it wants, and that's the case we have in many governments. They borrow without telling you. They borrow tons of money, and then you have to pay it back later. They move money around from different funds and don't tell you about it. So what it means is you put a spending limit, and you call things like debt. You don't call it revenues. You call it borrowing, and you limit those kind of things. And what it does is you allow spending at the government level to grow at something like inflation or population, but not in some crazy path, crazy rate that often happens. And you put the taxpayer first.
That's music to my ears. That doesn't feel like Illinois now. But what I tell my Missouri friends when they tell me why should I move, I tell them because I love my home. I love Illinois. I love everything about Illinois except for the corrupt politicians that are running it and making it this cesspool where I don't feel like my efforts, the hard work that I put in and the hard work my husband puts in to help raise our family, it just goes right out the door.
Oh.
And it's hard to make a home in a place where the government doesn't respect the taxpayer. So something like a taxpayer Bill of Rights, it really speaks to me and it gives me hope.
Yeah, my parents immigrated here in the 50s and 60s, and this place was a beacon. Even we had our corruption back then, but it was a beacon of opportunity, and people came from all over the world, right? And Illinois is still that great state with its water and its infrastructure and its education facilities and agriculture. It's still that. It's just got a totally messed up and corrupt political system, and so we need to flip that and get back Illinois to being that beacon of prosperity. There's no reason why we are not a great state in this country.
Yep. Ted Dabrowski with the Illinois Policy Institute, thank you very much for joining us today on the Mark Cox Show. It's very good to hear somebody talk about hope for Illinois. I would liken it a little bit to let's make Illinois great again. I would appreciate that very much. You can follow everything at illinoispolicy.org that they put out. It's great stuff. And you can also follow them on Twitter at Illinois Policy and on Facebook, Illinois Policy Institute. Just search it in there. It's easy to find. We'll be back right after this. I'm going to take some of your phone calls. Some of you have been patiently waiting on the phone. 314-969-9797 or toll free at 866-455-9797. We'll be back in a minute.
Lay yourself low. Coincidental murder with nothing to show.
This is the Mark Cox Show.
Go to his head and his wife's aggravation.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM NewsTalk 97.1 Weather Center forecast. Partly cloudy overnight while below 47 degrees. Then Friday looks good. Partly sunny with a high temperature of 72 degrees. Friday night, partly cloudy while below down to 60. Then over the weekend, it will be warm. Saturday, breezy. Clouds and sunshine, your high 82. Sunday, the high 86. Really not all that far from the record Sunday, which is 89. I'm meteorologist Dave Samuel for FM NewsTalk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. What's the first thing you think of when you think of Rick and Tracy Ellis? I hope you think of the #1 team at RE/MAX Edge Chesterfield. Maybe you think of the show they have on Saturdays and Sundays at 4 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday. But let me tell you what, they're involved in every real estate transaction in their office. They don't hand you off to somebody else. They've listed and sold over $200 million in real estate. They're the real deal, and it feels like you're working with family from 97.1. Check them out on their website at tracyellis.com.
Hi, I'm Brian Kilmeade here for Smile Advantage, a membership-based dental plan that's smart and affordable. Pay one low annual fee for all necessary checkups and cleanings, and unlike high-cost dental insurance, you only pay for the care you receive. Get discounts on fillings, crowns, and root canals. No waiting period, no yearly maximums. No kidding. This is the solution patients have been asking for. Most dental plans are renewing this time of year, so this is the perfect time to enroll. Visit SmileAdvantageSTL.com.
It's a fact. The market is within striking distance of its all-time high. So isn't it time for you to capture your gains and take a look at safer alternatives? I can teach you how to participate in the market gains without ever risking a penny of your principal. This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group. Call me now at 314-993-9494 for a free financial review. First, we'll look at where you stand. Then we'll figure out where you want to go. Finally, we can show you some worry-free options that might be right for you. For nearly 40 years, I've helped people nearing retirement protect what they've earned, and none of them have ever lost a penny. Call me now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And just for coming in, I'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. This will teach you about safer retirement strategies and also show you how to generate more guaranteed income in your retirement. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or visit us online at retirementkey.com.
Crooked career politician Chris Koster is one smooth talker, but his record? Koster is a hardcore abortion advocate, a 100% rating from the most extreme pro-partial birth abortion organization in the world. Koster admits expanding Obamacare by billions in Missouri is his top priority. Koster is a liberal career politician who's made millions off government and given thousands to Hillary Clinton. Even the New York Times calls Koster one of the most corrupt attorneys general in America. When you hear career politician Chris Koster, remember, he's corrupt, he's liberal, and the only job he'll ever fight for is his own.
Eric Greitens is anything but a career politician, the commander of a terrorist targeting cell, an entrepreneur who will create jobs. Eric Greitens, pro-life, pro-family, the guts to take on special interests and turn our state around.
Paid for by Greitens for Missouri, Jeff Stearman, Treasurer.
October is here. That means it's time for the annual Great River Road Chestnut Roast at Forest Keeling Nursery in Ellsbury. Bring the whole family out Saturday, October 15th. Of course, they'll have their famous roasted chestnuts along with other delicious fall foods. The event will feature local vendors and live entertainment, including bluegrass and folk music featuring Sarah Hook, plus special educational presentations such as monarch life cycle and migration, beekeeping, plus crafts and activities for the kids, beer tasting for the adults, different demonstrations throughout the day, and as always, they'll have great deals on seasonal trees and plants. Learn more about Forest Keeling's fast-growing RPM-produced trees, shrubs, and plants, including selections of their popular Chinese chestnut, which is fast becoming the most valuable nut tree. This is their biggest event of the year, so don't miss it Saturday, October 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Forest Keeling Nursery, just off Highway 79 in Ellsbury. See you at this year's Great River Road Chestnut Roast.
The Randy Tobler Show.
Hey, it's Randy, and can it get any crazier? WikiLeaks hammering Clinton, while ladies out of Trump's past claim he did do what he said he didn't at the debate. We'll cover it Saturday.
Randy Tobler, Saturday mornings.
On FM News Talk 97.1.
Listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow Mark on Twitter at MarkCox971.
Welcome back into The Mark Cox Show. It's good to be with you. Glover Show's coming up here in a minute, but before we get there, we're going to take some phone calls. Let's talk with Ken. Ken, thanks for calling the show.
Thanks for taking my call. Great show. I just want to emphasize some things in Illinois that y'all don't have over in Missouri. My real estate taxes are $200 less than the mortgage on my house.
Yeah.
And then to complicate that a little bit, Obamacare has taken my health care insurance on a monthly basis and has put that $300 over the top of my mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're talking real estate here and how we fund our education system. But then, if that's not bad enough, all our little municipalities, Fairview Heights, Highland, O'Fallon, just start naming the towns, they can legislate in a municipality a sales tax rate. For example, Fairview Heights is 10 point some odd percent. Highland, 8 point some odd percent on sales tax. So now they get you over here, they get you with both hands or double dipping. And it does. It goes right back to just poor management. It's terrible over here.
Yep, I completely agree with you. I've been living in Illinois for 32 years, and the real estate taxes, everybody is saying it in Illinois. I'm paying 2 mortgages to live in this house. The minute that you cross over into Indiana or Missouri, you are putting money in your pocket.
Yeah, the thing that Missouri has and Illinois doesn't have is personal property tax. And I think that's outrageous because once you buy a car or you buy a television, you've paid a sales tax on that already. So personal property tax, that in its own right is a highly regressive tax. But Illinois has dug itself into a really interesting hole, and hopefully, I know a lot of people disagree with our governor and his hard stance on the budget, but something's going to have to give. Yeah, no, I'm right there with him.
Yeah.
I'm on board. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely,
Great show.
Ken. Thanks for listening. There are lots of people who I don't understand why Michael Madigan can be in charge of the General Assembly for 30 years. And Bruce Rauner has been in there for 2.5. And people are like, he's not passing a balanced budget. Oh, because that matters now. It's been 15 years since we've had a balanced budget. There's been one consistency in that entire time. It's Michael Madigan. He controls what gets voted on, when it gets voted on, and how it gets voted on. And now Bruce Rauner's been in there for 2.5 years, and he says, no, we're not going to pass an unbalanced budget. We're not going to do it. We're not going to tax the people of Illinois anymore. We're not going to do it. It's like when you ground your kid, if you tell him that he's grounded for 2 weeks, and then after day number 2, he says, Can I be out of trouble? You say, yeah, okay, don't do it next time. You think he's gonna heed your advice the next time you tell him not to go out and do whatever it is that he did?
Oh, that's how I'm supposed to do it? Oops.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
He's like, yeah, go play.
I have a 6-year-old. We work in increments of minutes, not weeks.
I was
at
gonna
this
say,
point
I'm
in time.
totally chicken.
Yeah,
I'm totally kidding. Like that's not at all how we do things.
You have to stand for something. Can we have a politician somewhere that stands for something? Bruce Rauner got elected so that we could not have the same policies and procedures continuing that are destroying the state of Illinois. He got elected to stop it, and he is stopping it. And now everybody wants to say that he won't pass a budget and that it's his fault. That's ridiculous. Rebecca, thanks for calling the show. It's good to have you.
Hi, Annie. Real informational show. Good to hear your voice today.
Thank you.
I just want to say I moved away to Missouri, right over to Fenton, Missouri from Illinois side. For about 8 years, and I don't feel like I got ahead any more financially in Missouri, even though they operate in the black and Illinois supposedly operates in the red. But I've come back to Illinois because to me, that's home.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be anywhere else. I live in Dupo, Illinois, and I just think it's great. And I bought the nicest house, and I'm so happy to be back. And, yeah, I want to see stuff change. And I believe that Illinois can do it. If Missouri can operate straight, Illinois can do it too. We got a lot of obstacles to face, but when people come back who are conservative and who believe in the state and we start voting, that's what makes a difference. I know people might move away, but there's something better about Illinois. No offense to you guys in Missouri. Illinois is open. The skies are bigger. There's corn growing over here,
It's the
we
corn.
Still have trees.
Yeah.
It's not as crowded as St. Louis. St. Louis was so hectic that it was driving me bananas. I had to come back to Illinois. And when I hit the Illinois side of the river when I'm coming home, I relax. And that's all I really want to say.
All right, Rebecca, thank you for calling the show. We appreciate it. I think that home is home. And if you grew up in Missouri, you like Missouri. If you grew up in Illinois, you probably like Illinois. I think they're both beautiful places. I've thought of my husband and I, when we talked about moving to Missouri. We wanted to weigh our options because we're making a pretty big commitment. You're signing a piece of paper that is a pretty large financial obligation, and we wanted to make a smart one, so you consider your options. And there are several places in Missouri that we would have considered living. We chose to stay in Illinois. It's where our family is, and that's where we wanted to be. But the fiscal house is so out of order that it's painful. And like Rebecca says, we could get it right, but we're going to have more people like Bruce Rauner that are willing to stand for what is actually right. Blair, thank you for calling the show.
Yes, I was going to comment on the guy that just called in earlier that you were speaking with about the Constitutional Convention.
Mm-hmm.
All he had was his own agenda. This is nothing about the people of Illinois and what they have expected to be taxed on. They're not delivering. So that's kind of that's a negative on your part for not asking him the right questions.
So
what's
Illinois taxpayers are doing? What is the problem? I don't think I understand what you're saying.
Oh, the Illinois taxpayers are paying motor fuel tax to have their roads and bridges repaired, and when this money is used for other special interest, the people of Illinois are getting taken advantage of.
Well, in a crisis, don't you think that we should have educated, wise legislators potentially? And I don't know if I'm voting yes or no for it, and I'm in Illinois, so I can vote. But I asked that question. You have to be able to look at this from both sides, and there's two options here. You either handcuff the legislators from being able to pull that money so that it goes into a place that only funds transportation. But when you do that, you may also make that money impossible to access if there's a crisis somewhere else.
And that's what's wrong with the state of Illinois. I live there. I pay taxes, and the money that they promised for this is not going where they say it should.
Well, Illinois has a long history of mismanaging funds, promising pension funds, robbing from pension funds, and now you have this big deficit. And so as Ted Dabrowski from the Illinois Policy Institute said in his interview, we might need to put it away so that people can trust that those fees are going to where they're supposed to go to. But at the same time, it's a sad story that you feel like you have to handicap your legislature to disallow them from spending the money of the government, the taxpayer dollars that they have, in the way that's best for the state of Illinois. Because sometimes there are issues. Sometimes there is a crisis. We have a crisis right now. So yeah, I'm going to take a call here real quick. Lynn's been holding on for a while. Lynn, thank you for calling the show.
Hi, I enjoy your show a lot, I have a comment, an observation, and a question. Okay. All this about going on about Billy Bush and Trump. For one, I don't think anywhere in any time had the people done what they said they would do. I grew up with brothers; they're mostly braggarts.
Uh-huh.
And as a woman, I don't feel objectified by this. Hillary, her major thing is that this is objectifying women by reducing them to one bodily part. But I do feel kind of objectified by the fact that because we are female, she expects our vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Madeleine Albright say, and like the part about Trump grabbing women by their pee part, Madeleine Albright said there's a special place in hell for women that do not vote for Hillary. So my observation, maybe I'm wrong, is that if I don't go out and vote with my female parts, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
And my question is, what people have this selective outrage towards Trump, and they've got daughters, they can't support somebody like that. What are they going to do when this country is like Europe, if Hillary gets elected, and their daughters are publicly raped? And Hillary Clinton tells them, well, you've got to just suck it up. You're being Islamophobic. That's their culture. Get on with your life.
Yeah, I think any scenario that ends with Hillary being in the office makes me feel a little less comfortable that we're going to have the freedoms that we were intended to have by our founders. I just think that's plain and simple. I don't feel like Hillary gets to have my vote because I'm a woman. She's never going to get to have my vote because she's a woman, or because I'm a woman or she's a woman. It's just not the way it works. Guess what? I may have women body parts, but I also have a brain, and I use it to think for myself. And my brain tells me pretty quickly, I'm going to do what I got to do to keep Hillary Clinton out of office. That's vote for Donald Trump, and that's the way it's going to be for me. And I'm confident in that, and I don't have any shame in that. Thank you very much for listening to me as I got to fill in for Mark Cox. We're going to have Dave Glover's show coming up right after this. It's good to be with you. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show.
See, I've been a man.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Smile Advantage. Access to dental care you need at a price you can afford without the hassle of dental insurance. Now in St. Louis at multiple locations. Learn more at smileadvantagestl.com.
Who does your landscaping? Because you may have a fall landscaping to-do list. How about that? Summer's over. You need to start worrying about things and what's going to happen in the spring, right? So you've stored the mower. You're ready to be done with that, but there's lots of things that need to be handled. Hanson's Tree can help you with all this. Here's the short list. You need to trim trees and shrubs in the fall. At some point, you're going to have to rake the leaves. If you don't, it can breed a fungus that can harm your lawn in the spring. You need to aerate and reseed your lawn. You need to fertilize your lawn at some point, and then you need to look at spreading mulch, because when you do that, it helps protect your plants from the cold throughout the winter. You want to spread it around the base of the trees